Hello, chat. How are we doing? Hi for myself. What's up, Unguyen? What's up, Masters? Oh, Master's not here yet. Okay. Let me open the. Today is gonna be a longer stream. Came from OT again. What's OT? Sorry if I forgot. Give me like a minute and wait for people to come as well. Yesterday, Klein was spying on his adult year detective work. The picture of them shagging. That's good. And the rest of the stream yesterday was all over the place because for the life of me, I could not focus. But today is gonna be a better stream, don't worry. Remember to note that Crate 2 and Seal 3 artifact can be repeated to the artifact being arranged by their own church. There might be multiple Crate 2 or Crate 3 sealed artifacts with the same code name but are completely different from each other. Yep, thank you. Thank you. That means there might be another 2049 out there as well. Other ones we have seen like the Sun Charm, like 3071. You're quite tired? Yeah, I mean, I wasn't tired, but I couldn't like focus for some reason. What's up, Pat Bloom? Today is feeling not better though. Hi. Let's get into it, guys. Guys. If the music is too loud, let me know, okay? The frick has just happened? What's up, Observer? Okay. 258 murder case. I'm guessing we get a new detective job here, right? Here we go. You can see everything now. Let me just lower the music just a tad bit, okay? If it's too quiet, too loud, let me know, please. Okay, 258. A murder case. The concrete road had turned dirty from prolonged rain. Two gas lamps the height of an adult male along the two sides of the road emitted a bright but misty light to the moisture on the glass. A rental carriage drove through the night as the surroundings pedestrians either wore hats or carried umbrellas. Klein leaned against the wall, idly admiring the evening streets of Backland. At that moment, he suddenly felt the temperature inside the carriage drop significantly. A gloomy and cold wind was swirling about. Klein jerked his head around and saw that Miss Bodyguard, dressed in the black gothic regal dress, was sitting opposite of him without him even realizing it. Her voice was ethereal and dreamy. That eye of wisdom sensed my presence. Wow, okay. I mean, he's an appraiser, then that's sequence 7, right? As expected, Klein nodded, unsurprised. He has several mystical items that perhaps he sensed you because of them. I even suspect that he has an organization behind him. Yeah, I guess so. Otherwise, it's quite impossible for Eye of Wisdom to collect several relatively powerful mystical items in 30 years. With his power alone, previously Vice Admiral Hurricane Chilangos only had a single creeping hunger, despite being one of the 7 great pirate admirals. Of course, it was possible that the latter had high standards and ordinary mystical items didn't catch his attention. After all, the creeping hunger, he could be more well-rounded and nearly be without any weaknesses. Exactly. What's up, Ocean? How are you doing? What's up, Phantom? Yes, for Eye of Wisdom himself to be rich, there has to be a rather good explanation as well. I mean, he's old, right? So he has probably cultivated a lot of wealth in his time. He's organized so many gatherings, and once he finds a suitable mystical item, he will spare no expense to get it. Having a few in his collection isn't that unbelievable. Having a few in his collection isn't that unbelievable. It's like he has gold mine at home, or he runs a bank. Klein lampooned silently. Is this back to back lampoon, by the way? Didn't mention in detail that he had guessed that Eye of Wisdom was from the Church of the God of Steam and Machinery, or from the Church of the God of Knowledge and Wisdom, out of fear that he would expose to Miss Bodyguard that he wasn't someone who had just become a Beyonder. The blonde Miss Bodyguard nodded slightly as though agreeing with Klein's suspicions. Suddenly, she frowned and looked at the window opposite of her. A rich smell of blood. The strong smell of blood. Klein turned his head in puzzlement and looked out the window. Are we in the carriage right now? There was a secluded alley in the sparse drizzle. Near the mouth of the valley, a woman wearing a gorgeous dress was on the ground. Someone murdered? I mean, well, don't worry. A detective is here to figure out the case. At that moment, a pedestrian walked past, and on careful inspection at a sudden scream. Is this a coincidence, by the way? The scream startled the horse slightly as the carriage driver quickly tightened the reins, slowing down the carriage. On the light of gas lamp, Klein saw the pale face of the woman lying on the ground at the mouth of the alley. There was a deep gash in her stomach, and her internal organs seemed to have been hollowed out. Okay, so I'm guessing a Beyonder did that? Interesting. Deductions, my good man. The blood on the ground around her was flowing slowly, crimson and thick. Yes, as a qualified former Nighthawk, he quickly thought of many similar cases. I mean, what is the chance that, you know, Klein saw it not like randomly here? Maybe there was someone who wanted Klein to see this. But it's probably not Ints. It's probably a planned attack, or maybe it's just a coincidence in the end, right? There was often these were often related to devil worship, and when it came to devil worship, it was almost always tied to ancient organizations. It was the Blood Sanctify sect that first appeared in the 4th epoch. Okay, Blood Sanctify sect. Interesting. What do they worship? What has to do with a lot of blood? Monster? Maybe? Here we go. According to the records, this was a loose alliance formed to the worship of devils. It consisted of several so-called devil clans, such as the Nui, Adararial, and Beria clans. They weren't subordinate to each other. In their bid to proselytize faith in the devil, they committed many murders. Back in Tingen, the accountant of the Nighthawks, Mrs. Oriana, was one such victim who was thankfully saved. Aww. Her fathers or parents were saved, right? So they don't belong to like any evil god, maybe. They just like worship devils overall, maybe. Of course, not all similar cases were committed by them. Many people felt that such acts were very cool. Who the fuck? And began to imitate them. I'm guessing some psychopaths were like, ooh, some people are doing it, I'm gonna follow them and do it as well. Like, you know why sometimes like a lot of like shootings or stabbings happen? Because they wanna be on the news, right? People just wanna like, you know, be on the news or some shit. I don't know. It looks like it was done by a Blood Sanctify sect, even though this is like different, right? They worship devils. His bodyguard whispered as her figure rapidly turned translucent before vanishing. She didn't care if Klein understood her or comprehend the situation. At that moment, the carriage had already passed the scene of the crime. Klein also noticed that the patrolling police had arrived, so he held back his idea of getting off the carriage to observe, and instead chose to act as an ordinary citizen who was passing by. Yes, citizen Mr. Moriarty. The Blood Sanctify sect has a criminal pathway. Interesting. Wait a second. Who is the god of the criminal pathway, by the way? Devil? Let me open Drive, 1 second. Interesting development. A very interesting development indeed. Where the frick are my notes? Oh, sorry, different drive. We only know criminal, right? From the criminal pathway. We also have the prisoner pathway, which is... The prisoner pathway is so much like the criminal pathway, by the way. Like, there might have well been one pathway, but I misunderstood and thought it was a different pathway, right? Like, sequence 8 criminal is actually prisoner. Maybe. I mean, only... These two pathways are like the only ones that we don't have a second sequence, right? Or is there anything else? I guess apothecary and planter as well, right? But other than that, we have like more info on every pathway. Yeah. Sequence 9 criminals have strong bodies. Sorry. The blood sanctifies act as a criminal pathway, which is also known as the devil pathway. Oh, there we go. There we go. I did not know that. I'm guessing sequence 1 devil of something, maybe. Devil of the world. I don't know. It's also known as the devil pathway. It's said that after sequence 7, the corresponding beyonder will gradually turn demonic. Interesting. It's like the witch pathway, right? However, they will only reveal those signs under certain circumstances. Sequence 9 criminals have strong bodies, keen instincts, and variety of criminal abilities, but their conscience isn't gone yet. Sequence 8, known by ancient name Gold-Blooded, as the modern name Unwinged Angel. Interesting. It means that from that moment forth, they lose their conscience and reveal in evil desires, with bodies that look even more inhuman. They will also obtain some of the magical powers of the devil. Sequence 7, serial killer. I called serial. I called serial killer, I'm pretty sure. I remember when the criminal pathway was like first revealed, I said serial killer and like, what else? I said like massacreist, massacre doer, war criminal. I said war criminal as well, right? A good deal of knowledge and rituals regarding devil worship. They like to please the devil with special serial murders. Okay, interesting. Okay, serial killer. Criminal doesn't mean they're caught while prisoner is caught. Oh yeah, true. War criminal is crazy. I mean, can be possible, no? Sequence 8. Unwinged Angel is a very interesting name. Sequence 7. Anyone wanna be on the criminal pathway, by the way? Serial killer. I think it's like a unhinged pathway. There might be like, I don't know. What's next, like rapists? I don't know, probably not. Hopefully not. Because acting method is insane for that. Mr. A used devil-like powers. Wait, let me pull up my theories as well, guys. That was said. I was like, oh, is this like the monster pathway? Wait, where are my theories? Where have my theories gone? There we go. Open the wrong thing. God damn it. Where is Mr. A? Mr. Aindu. The book that Mr. A uses from the reader pathway. I think I said like one of the abilities that he used maybe on the monster pathway, but yeah. I'm guessing Mr. A used his creeping hunger, as in... He doesn't have a creeping hunger, of course, but he used his shepherd ability on one of the devil or criminal pathway members to get their abilities, right? Low sequence named Unwinged Angel goes hard. Yeah, I know, right? Insane. Insane. Cold-blooded though. I wonder why it went from cold-blooded to Unwinged Angel. Interesting. I did reader. Wait, I misclicked. Oh, oops, my bad. Sorry. My bad. Monsters seem to deal with luck. What if remember the luck ritual? I wonder if the luck ritual is somehow connected to the monster. Sorry, the monster pathway. Yeah, I wonder. Interesting. Let's continue. I don't know the sequence after that. The information regarding the blood sanctify sect and the devil pathway flashed past Klein's mind. The rain outside seemed to become heavier as the rain on the windows converged and fell, and the whole world became quiet and unclear. What's the point of thinking so much? As matters will definitely be taken over by a Beyonder squad. It might be the Mandate Punishers or Nighthawks. There's no need for me to worry. Oh, don't say that. I think the murder happening and you witnessing it is something else to do with you, unless it was like a really big coincidence, which, you know, I don't really believe in coincidence anymore. Klein shook his head with a laugh as he muttered in his mind. By the time he returned to 15 Minsk Street, he had forgotten about the murder case. He went next door and knocked on the Sammers' front door, asking Mrs. Stelling to tell Mary that she could come for the evidence tomorrow afternoon. Following that, he washed off and read the newspapers, learning about the current situation and news in Backland. On Saturday morning the next day, it's Sunday soon by the way, and the last day of the bodyguard being with Klein. Klein enjoyed his breakfast slowly and went out to pick up the freshly developed photographs. He chose the one with the best view of Drago, Scales, and Erica Taylor's face, one that brought out their passion the most. Interesting. After putting the photos away, he went to the Rice police station before Mrs. Mary arrived and successfully got the bail money that was worth £10 back. In the process, he also saw the real Sergeant vaccine and felt a little uncomfortable. I know, right? High sequence monster beyond the slot machine. Kamba. That's so funny. After withdrawing the remaining £500 in cash from his account, Klein's finally done with everything after having a busy morning. Before he prepared lunch, he handed the remaining £600 to Miss Bodyguard in one go, leaving £146, each solid and 5 pence on him. That was all his liquid funds, and that's a lot of money, bro. Other than Miss Justice, I have no other debts. Klein cooked himself a T-bone steak. Holy! Spending money like crazy, like a clown, dude. And spooned it with black pepper sauce. Just as he was enjoying the taste of the medium well, you. Like well done? Medium well? Wait. Rare, medium well. Steak while he's in good mood, the doorbell suddenly rang and resounded through his house. Ooh, is Miss Mary maybe? Because one's monster pathway snake of Mercury, yeah, exactly. Mrs. Mary, isn't it too early? Oh, Basil Klein put it down his fork and knife, and they walked to the door. He paused for 2 seconds as the image of the visitor outside the door appeared in his mind. An old-fashioned gentleman in a light grey overcoat, a silk top hat, and he held a black and gold cane. Ooh, rich. He had sharp blue eyes and his temples were streaked with white. His wrinkles were deeply engraved in his face, causing his facial muscles to seemingly sag. Old man, old-timer. May I know who you're looking for? Klein asked after opening the door. I guess a new costumer? The old gentleman said in a thick Meadshire accent. Hello, laddie. Are you Sherlock Detective Moriarty? Do you have something to entrust to me? Klein nodded and made the way, leading the old gentleman into the living room. Hesitated for 2 seconds and asked, would you like a coffee or tea? A cup of hot water, please. The old gentleman had taken off his hat and sat down. Very well, it's very simple. Maybe I should consider getting an assistant to serve tea and clean the place. Yeah, true. I mean, you have an assistant until your room or your house gets attacked by another Beyonder, man. As Klein's mind wandered, he turned to the kitchen and rinsed the glass. After placing the hot water in front of the old gentleman, he walked to the sofa and sat down with his hands folded. How may I address you? Millet Carter, the old gentleman answered simply. Millet. Unc named Millet. Interesting. Mr. Carter, what would you like to entrust me with? Klein asked directly without bothering to exchange pleasantries. Wait, did you not say your name back? As he spoke, he quietly activated his spirit vision to observe Carter. This old gentleman is quite good health. There are some problems with the color of the joints of his left leg. Probably arthritis. Oh god, I hate getting old. His emotions are mostly blue from calm thinking with a hint of anxiety. In just a glance, Klein had come to a general conclusion. Millet Carter lifted the white porcelain cup and, while rubbing its surface, said, "The thing is, I bought a house on William Street. I come from Midishire, and because of my business, I'll be living in Backland permanently." William Street, where's that? Having been in Backland for less than a month, Klein, who had consulted the map or relied on his intuition, tried his best to appear staid and reliable. It's probably some rich area, right? William. Millet Carter looked at him and under his gaze he continued. Rumor has it that the house was originally owned by a bankrupt viscount. It was about 2 to 3 decades ago. After a few changes of hands, I finally bought it. I planned on doing some renovations that suited for the modern style, but I discovered a hidden secret door in the basement which leads to a very large underground structure. Ooh, some vault maybe? Maybe the previous viscount was like a cultist? Considering that I might not be safe inside, I temporarily stopped construction and I prevented the workers and servants from rashly exploring it. I hope that you can help me confirm the situation inside the underground structure. Underground structure, ancient ruins, secret treasure? I thought and said, why didn't you call the police? The resources that the police can mobilize are more than 100 times that of a private detective like me can muster. A source of exploration will definitely be better and more reliable. He let Carter rub his nose bridge. I think this guy's a little bit corrupt. Google the pronunciation for viscount. I know it's different. I know that, but I chose to say viscount to rage bait people.
Viscount.
How?
Viscount.
How?
Viscount.
Okay, fine. Viscount. Happy? I think the old man is a bit corrupt and doesn't want to know. Maybe he's oh, it's like island, true. Maybe he's maybe his businesses are like shady. Why count? Why count the money, guys? I don't want too many people to know about this, especially the government. If it confirmed that there are no danger within the underground structure, then I intend to use it as part of the structure and repurpose it. I know that this is a high risk for you and I'm willing to pay 50 pounds for it, but you can't have more than 3 assistants and I can make up for it later depending on the circumstances. 50 pounds is quite a high price. If I were an ordinary detective, that would be equivalent to 2 or 3 months of my income. He just arrived in Packland and doesn't know any other detectives. Interesting, a little bit suspicious. Does he not have any connections? Could only read the newspaper to look for hires and ended up coming to me. Klein hesitated for a few seconds. An old man doesn't want to pay any taxes, bro. Let me think about it. Suddenly revealed an apologetic smile, pointed behind him and said, I'm in need to use the bathroom. Oh, and it's a divine. Carter nodded slightly and took a sip of hot water. I have a phone call, man. Why does it always happen? It's also on Messenger, bro. Who calls me a messenger? Silent mode goes on. Suddenly revealed an apologetic smile, pointed behind him and said, I need to use the bathroom. Millet Carter nodded slightly and took a sip of hot water after entering the bathroom and closing the wooden door. Pine looked at the mirror and took out a copper penny. Because he had Miss Bodyguard with him, he could confirm it about the grey fog, so he could only rely on his own divination skills. I should accept this commission. Klein chanted 7 times and flicked the coin as he watched it tumble down. Lord of Bathrooms, that's so funny, by the way. The copper coin fell into his palm and the king's portrait faced up, getting a positive response. Oh, you should accept this, okay. I feel like we moved on too fast from the murder case, by the way. Just me? Glenn slightly nodded and whispered into the thin air. What does your intuition tell me? His bodyguard figure quickly appeared in the mirror. She replied expressionlessly, there's a certain amount of danger, but it's not great. Okay, interesting. It can't do with certain. Because, you know, bodyguard still has 1 day of work left, right? Before it's Sunday. Or 2 days, right? Before it's Monday. So maybe he can, like, make full use of the bodyguard. Very good. Klein put away the coin, washed his hands, and walked out of the bathroom and the living room. He looked at Carter and said with a smile, I'll take the commission. Underground structure. Let's see what the structure is about. Maybe it has something to do with Beyonders. I mean, most definitely does, but... and I feel like the murder case, he moved on it from, like, too quickly, I think. Let's go. Murder is the police job, won't work for free either. Yeah. I mean, like the fact that he saw the murder happen. It's a pretty, like, not every day is like you see murders, right? After signing a contract with Millet and receiving an advance payment of £10, Client rushed to William Street immediately. Said he made the appointment by for 4 in the afternoon. Millet was understanding with regard to this. Alone, Detective Sherlock Moretti definitely had to recruit people to carry out the exploration. When the old gentleman left, Klein immediately returned to the dining table and cut the steak which had turned cold before wolfing it down. Seriously, doesn't he need to eat lunch? Why must he pick up such a time to come? After barely filling his stomach, Klein bitterly began cleaning up. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Mary arrived as scheduled. Her eyes were slightly red and puffy. Was she crying? But her face was turning gloomy. Stell and Sammer, who accompanied her, had no choice but to maintain her silence. Klein handed over an envelope containing his carefully chosen photo. Madam, please confirm it. So, what do with the other pictures, Klein, or the photos? Mary paused for 2 seconds and slowly took in breath. Then she took the envelope, pulled out the photo, and examined it. Excellent, very excellent. You're the most efficient and responsible detective I've ever met. I'm honored to introduce you as a member of the Kola Club. This is the remaining £7 for the payment. Why is she taking it so, like, lightly? Does she wanna, like... Okay, so she knows the husband is cheating, right? Is it like she, like, hates him now? But then again, her eyes were red because probably crying. But, like, if I was her, I'd be like, like that, you know? But she was like, excellent, you know? Does she wanna, like, divorce him and get half of his money? This is the remaining £7 for the payment. You deserve it. Mary took out the wallet from her leather handbag and counted out £5 note and 2 £1 notes. Then, without waiting for Klein's response, he stuffed the photo back into the envelope, put it into her handbag, and abruptly got it up and left. Tap, tap, tap. Her buttonless boots made hurried sounds as she stomped on them. Stell and Sammer struggled to keep up. Where is she going, bro? She's not surprised? Yeah, true, true. Yeah, true. What's up, Fanber? Nothing much, bro. Yeah, true. I wanna see this, like, go on. Like, I wanna see, what was his name again? Gale? No, not Gale. Cowl? I wanna see his face get slapped super hard, man. Her buttonless boots made hurried sounds as she stomped on them. Stell and Stammer struggled to keep up. As she opened the door, Mary stumbled and almost fell, but fortunately Stellin caught her. With this episode, Mary clearly slowed down and seemed to turn calm. Madam, you forgot to take the portable camera. I'll give it to Mrs. Sammer later, and she'll bring it to you. Klein silently watched the scene, slightly shaking his head without saying anything. They returned to the second floor, took a nap, waking up comfortably to bell chimes of the nearby church. Oh, yeah, no alarm clock, so yeah. Klein had already searched the map and confirmed that William Street was at the border at the Westboro and Empressboro. Ooh, rich place. A residential area in the heart of Backland. That's why this old geezer could cough up £50, right? A nice house in Westboro and Hillstonboro costs about £2,500. Carter's house is close to Empressboro and it's property of a former Viscount. Viscount, yeah. The area is definitely sizable. Total purchase price will be at least £3,500. Maybe even £5,000. That will be enough for a pretty decent mystical item. He actually came visiting me without a housekeeper or an attendant, perhaps because he's new in Backland and hasn't settled in. Ryan put on his double-breasted coat, hat, and held his cane before heading out into Minsk Street. I mean, also this old geezer is a little bit corrupt and seems like not the best person because, you know, wants to keep the structure hidden. The gas lamps haven't been lit yet, and the streets were surprisingly darker than during the evenings. Boy, however, the air was fairly alright, without the suffocating air in the boroughs to the east. Taking a rental carriage, he went all the way to William Street. Clean saw a waiting wallet outside the Unit 8 house. The waiting valet, right? The D is silent. Outside the 8 house, the valet, who was dressed in a red vest and light colored trousers, bowed respectfully at the incoming visitor. Good afternoon. Might I inquire you if you are Detective Moriarty? Yes, I have an appointment with Mr. Carter. Klein nodded and followed the valet into a mansion with a garden and a lawn. The house was 2 stories tall. The first floor was in a mess with a lot of construction materials placed everywhere. There were workers coming in and doing some modifications. Carter wasn't wearing a hat. Covering his nose, he walked over. I am very sorry about the mess and dirt here, but I do wish that everything will be fine before my family arrives in Backland. I can only urge them to keep working non-stop. Oh, it's like... Having said that, he looked at the valet and instructed, Continue watching them. It's no wonder that he didn't bring up any servants with him. Even his servants have become supervisors. Klein smiled and said, I know a lot of doctors. They tell me that the newly renovated houses aren't suitable for immediate occupation. One has to wait at least 3 months to ventilate it well enough. Otherwise, old people and children who aren't strong enough will easily fall sick. Is that so? Millet led Klein to the basement and asked doubtfully. I have never verified, but it chose to believe in authority. It said that it originated from the words passed down by Emperor Cell. Klein casually fabricated an excuse. Oh, this is Klein speaking, sorry. I never verified it, but I chose to believe in authority. It said that this originated from the words passed down by Emperor Cell. Klein casually fabricated an excuse. Millet nodded and turned to look at the door. He couldn't help but frown before asking, Mr. Detective, you didn't bring an assistant? There might be a good bit of danger in that structure. I have an assistant, just that can't see her, Klein lampooned. Back to back lampoon! Holy shit, we have a combo! As he said seriously, this is my first visit, so I'll advance very carefully. If there are any problems, I will immediately retreat. I'm experienced in this area, so I won't put myself in dangerous situation. If I were matched with an experienced assistant, I might easily affect my nimble and decisive actions. Assistants hold me back. Ah. Millet was startled. You are very professional. A professional bluff, Klein silently added. Any further doubts? Millet led Detective Moriarty through the cluttered living room and down the stairs to a fairly spacious basement. There were no gas pipes here, but 4 metal candlesticks were set into the walls, their yellow lights flickering. Stepping on stone pavements on the ground, Klein couldn't help but sigh in reflection. As expected of a noble's property, even the basement has been nicely decorated. Furthermore, it's almost as big as the living room of my current house. Sheesh. At this moment, Millet pointed ahead and said, There is a secret door over there. It was discovered by the workers when they were renovating. Klein focused his gaze with the not very bright candlelight and he saw a grey stone door in the corner. It should be part of the wall, but it was now exposed. I leave the rest for you. Be safe, tall gentleman. Millet gave Klein a lighted lantern and cautioned him. Has this place been ventilated ahead of time? Klein asked cautiously. Millet shook his head indescribably. It's not particularly stuffy inside, but I didn't let the workers go too far. Alright, Klein checked his belongings, put on a black glove. Under Millet's case, unhurriedly carried the lantern and approached the stone door. He pushed it open with his cane. Amidst the heavy creaking sounds through the light outside, he saw a deep-colored passageway paved with stone. There were several wooden doors on both sides of the passageway at the... Multiple doors? What the fuck? Okay, so... Maybe it's like a maze. Maybe not. Both sides, 2 doors. They had already begun to rot, but they were still barely usable. So 2 rooms, maybe. Not too ancient, however, the ostentatious style of the door and the depth and thickness of the stone slabs don't match. Did the Viscount family change it before? Klein quietly activated his spirit vision, gripped his cane and walked forward step by step with a lantern in hand. The light dispersed in the darkness, and when he passed by the rooms on either side, he was able to see a somewhat empty scene through the open door, which was likely open to the exploration of the workers Millet had hired. There was also a long bench and a table that shared the same aesthetic style as the door. There's no sign of spirits flashing. Klein did a brief inspection. Without stopping, he proceeds forward until he came to an end of the hall where a black stone double door was. Stretching out his gloved right hand, he half clamped his cane and slowly pushed against the door. A jarring sound of friction began to reverberate through the air as the stone door slowly cracked open. Spirit light suddenly appeared in Klein's eyes, reflecting an intertwined aura of different colors. His heart tightened as he pushed the door open. Before taking a few steps back, the crack in the stone door widened rapidly, and a slimy black creature fell from above. Oh, so, like I said, this is probably like cultist place when Viscount was alive. Maybe Viscount was like a Beyonder or some shit. There was a snake with a triangular head and red floral patterns on its head. Ooh, a rare snake. What do you mean a triangular head? What the fuck? Like a triangle head? Huh. It straightened its upper body, shot out its tongue, and looked at Klein with cold brown eyes. One snake after another fell from above the door as they piled up at the entrance. Holy shit, it's Phineas look snake? Is it a trap, or the snakes have made it their home? Klein saw a large hall beyond them. In the middle of the hall, countless snakes of various colors slithered together, forming an exaggerated nest of snakes about 10 meters wide. Holy snake pole! The slimy, disgusting feeling assaulted his senses. Klein felt his scalp turn numb as he couldn't help but take 2 steps back. He even wanted to look away without daring to look straight ahead. They're probably also poisonous, right? Triangle head with smooth corners, I see. Snakes could have been the top 10 worst ways to trap. Yeah, it's like snakes have made it their home. So if there's snakes, we know that like the primordial demoness has like snakes as her hair. So maybe this Viscount and this like structure on the ground was like worshipped or occupied by the demoness sect. Although he was a man, he was still afraid of snakes. Snakes were the animal that he was most afraid of. Yeah, because famously women are made afraid of snakes, right? This stemmed from a psychological trauma in the past when he was a child. Oh, despite being way past his bedtime, he liked to secretly open the door to his room and watch movies with his parents through a crack. Based? W. Klein? Unfortunately, his parents once watched a snake disaster movie. One scene involved the demolition of a building. The result was the unearthing of a large nest of snakes, and a sense of skirming remained deeply imprinted in his mind. Venomous, not poisonous. What's the difference? This info is said, yeah. Afraid of snakes, true. Common Primordial got a haircut down there. No. Maybe like, you know how demonesses like use spiders and then like snakes? Not demonesses, sorry. Yeah, demonesses, I guess. A large nest of snakes and the sense squirming remained deeply imprinted in his mind. When the slumber charm affected so many snakes, Klein swallowed hard and said to the air, "Do you have any solutions?" Miss Bodyguard in her black gothic dress quickly appeared by his side, her mouth tightly closed. She didn't say anything. Tightly closed. By the way, also when he used divination on this mission, it said like slight danger, so I'm guessing this is the slight danger. Klein looked at her as she looked back at Klein, but no one spoke. But when a snake slowly slithered out, Klein finally coughed and repeated, "Do you have any solutions?" Miss Bodyguard didn't answer. Instead, she floated, and suddenly a cold wind blew in the passageway. The wind howled as it blew into the hall. The temperatures dropped rapidly as it approached the temperatures of the outside world. A densely packed snakes in the middle of the hall suddenly slithered in all directions. They scattered, guys, searching for a warmer, more suitable spot to survive. 2 to 3 minutes later, a thin layer of moss formed on the surface of the hall and the passageway, and countless snakes had disappeared without much of a trace. The continuing climb said, chattering. That's quite enough. Why didn't why didn't the bodyguard answer though? Keeping it mysterious, you know? The surging cold wind slowed down, but the cold didn't subside. Miss Bodyguard's figure disappeared once again. So she can, like, you know, her abilities, she can, like, make, like, cold wind as well. Klein lifted his cane-wielding right hand, covered his mouth and nose, and sneezed. Achoo! Then he raised the lantern and cautiously walked through the stone door into the white hall. The style here was identical to the passageway outside. There were 8 circular columns, the same color, erected there. Okay, 8 columns. Why? Metal bowls hung from the high dome, and at the bottom were candlesticks carved into different creatures. An upside-down candlestick. As a university student of the history department, a person who could barely be called an elite in this field climbed a preliminary judgment based on this unique arrangement. A structure of the 4th epoch? Oh, maybe the Viscount was unaware of it then. Isn't the 4th epoch like 1300 years ago? Probably some like cultist place, right? Especially from meme uni. Uh-huh. Why did you emphasize the word erected? Did I? She's too cool for that, exactly. She's aura farming. Anyway, so if it is 4th epoch, like ritual site, because they're candlesticks, right? Upside down candlestick. And they're creatures and carved into different creatures. Candlesticks carved into different creatures. And it has to be like from old secret organization that was around since the 4th epoch, right? I guess let's find out. Let's see what Klein is gonna cook up here. Maybe this demoness sect, but maybe not. Strange statues. Let's continue. It's gonna be really interesting to find out what they are. Right, guys? The history circle of the northern continent countries all recognize that the 4th epoch was shrouded in thick mystery. It was impossible to tell what it truly was. The historical records had too many missing pieces and ambiguity. Oops.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguities. For this period of history, there were too few tombs, ancient cities, and literature that had been unearthed to create an affecting confirmation. I know why, by the way. I know why. It's because some of the history was changed to make other gods look better than they actually are. There might have been like genocide and massacres, and that's why there's not much info it, because you know, history books are written by the victors always, right? However, this didn't mean that no one had done the relevant research. Its rarities implied that there were still some relics information left behind. The original Klein was a fanatic towards the history of the Fourth Epoch. He often read journal articles and books, so even now, Klein still remembered a lot of content. Whether it was the Solomon Empire, Tudor Empire, or Trunsuest Empire, they all had similar architectural styles. Architectural styles that went against common sense. They were disorderly, asymmetrical, and they stood out for their frequent use of black. Okay, interesting. Why? Why was it asymmetrical? Was it like they wanted to like build fast as possible, did not care about how it looked like or something? Any mods on? Mods. I have like 6 mods. Where are they? Who wants to be mod in chat, guys? Who wants to mod the chat? That black sounded racially motivated? No, it wasn't, man. Come on. Use of black, the color. Asymmetrical, the rage bait future historians. Becca, you? Maybe. Was not motivated racial. Okay, Becca, I'll make you a mod. But only on YouTube, okay? Not on Discord. How do you even make you as a mod? Okay, there we go. Do not do anything naughty, my guy. Okay, wow. Good timing, masters. Becca is our new mod, by the way. Hoplen, if you don't offering to... Okay, maybe in the future if you need another one, then I'm gonna add you. The most typical characteristics were the candlesticks hanging from the ceiling and the chopped floral pattern marks on black walls. Wasn't there also floral pattern on the goddamn snakes? The triangular snakes? This was precisely why Klein's first reaction was that the underground structure belonged to the Fourth Epoch when he raised his lantern. He had seen circular metal poles with candlesticks embedded at the bottom that ran down from the dome, reminding him of the Fourth Epoch, which was shrouded in mystery, leaving many historians and archaeologists regretful of the lack of knowledge in that ancient period. No need for Becca to be mod, just in case Master has to leave or something. Hello Masters, by the way. Thank you for coming. Several journal articles have mentioned that the number of candlesticks within different buildings are different. Although the three empires find asymmetry beautiful, Wabi Sabi, they seem to have strict and meticulous rules in every aspect. 3 on the left and 2 on the right is the highest standards that ordinary citizens... Wait, what the frick? 3 on the left and 2 on the right is the highest standards that ordinary citizens can enjoy. This is based on the structure of the buildings and the houses that remain. Ryan raised his arm and held the lantern high. He walked slowly, counting candlesticks on both sides. The hall was even wider than he had expected. He had walked for at least 100 meters before he saw a platform half a meter above the ground. Only then did he see the thick wall that marked the end of the hall. 41 in the inverted candlesticks on the left and 40 on the right. Oh my god, my OCD is gonna... This is a bit of an exaggeration. What level of aristocracy is this? Powerful nobility? Ugh, the Antigonos and Saratul families are all aristocrats of the Fourth Epoch. They're also powerful and terrifying Saratul families, like multiple. And the Saratul families are all aristocrats of the Fourth Epoch. They're also powerful and terrifying beyond their family clans. Other noble families should be about the same. Holding the lantern in hand, Klein continued onward. He saw the stairs at the side of the half-height platform and saw the scuffing on the black stone tiles. Is this really a relic of the Fourth Epoch? A thought flashed through Klein's mind. With his keen eyesight and the light from the lanterns, he found 2 iron black seats on top of the platform that was half a meter above the ground. The huge ancient seats overlooked the other seats below. There were 2 seats. Okay, let's try to like figure out this mystery, guys. 2 ancient seats overlooked the other seats below. Is this So this is underground, right? Right? 1300 years ago. Antigonus and the Saratul families? Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. I meant like Saratul had multiple families. That's what I was asking. Not that Antigonus is a Saratul family. Anyway. Is this more than just like an underground? Like, this is probably... All of this was probably overground in the past. But just some shit was growing on it, right? Even though there were like doors leading up to it. Might have been a building or like some kind of like mansion or palace above ground. For like, and the two seats represent like a husband and a wife. Some kind of like nobility. I don't think rulers, but yeah, let's keep reading. What's up, Merlin? White you according to the layout, the seat here should present the person with the most power and authority. There are two of them, a powerful noble of equal strength, maybe a wife, a double count, double duke, or double prince. Khan slowly began to feel that his knowledge of history was inadequate. He clearly remembered that many journal articles mentioned that the Dream Empire, Solomon, Tudor, and June Soest had a strict hierarchy. Based on this theory, there shouldn't have been leaders of equal standing within a fraction. I mean, the info on Fourth Epoch is really scattered and unknown, and probably a lot of lies made by Orthodox gods to fit their narrative. So there might have been, I just don't know. Merlin makes videos. Oh, is this the Merlin? There are multiple Merlins. He clearly remembered that many journal articles mentioned that the three empires, Solomon, Tudor, and Truno, says that strict hierarchy based on the theory shouldn't have been any leaders of equal standing within a faction. Strange, Klein mumbled in a way meant for Miss Bodyguard. What's so strange about that? An ethereal voice suddenly sounded from behind him in the vast, dark, empty, and silent ancient hall. This voice was exceptionally frightening. Why? Klein's mouth twitched as he explained the characteristics, history, knowledge, and puzzling points that he had observed to her. He eventually added, "The ventilation here is very good. I wondered if there are any other entrances." Miss Bodyguard, who had mostly blended into the darkness, listened silently as she gave Klein a penetrating glance. "How did you know so much?" "Because I was a university student in the history department," Klein cursed silently before smiling. "If I hadn't chosen to be a detective, perhaps I would have become a diligent young historian." Miss Bodyguard didn't respond, nor did she disappear. Instead, she floated up to the platform first. With the lantern in hand, Klein quickly followed, discovering that the platform was very large. About 40 meters in length and 10 meters in breadth. What the fuck is breadth? Breadth? Breadth as its own measurement? What the fuck is breadth? Bread? Breadth measurement, guys.
Breadth. Breadth.
Interesting, I never knew of this. The distance measured from side to side of something with breadth. Breadth. The architectural style is a grand and enlarged. It's also one of the characteristics of the Fourth Epoch. He said casually as he carefully approached the two huge iron plaque chairs, and he raised his lantern and carefully inspected. It seems to be meant for a 3-meter tall giant to sit on. What the fuck? Are we sure this is from the Fourth Epoch, by the way? There's an emblem on the back of the chair. On the side is black crown. On the other side is a hand holding onto a scepter. Oh, hello. I wonder what they symbolize on their own, Klein said to himself, not expecting an answer from Miss Bodyguard. What emblem is it though? Like, can you tell what emblem this is? Like, snag a picture. On the side is a black crown. On the other side is a not hand holding into a scepter. Interesting. Breath is like width. Yeah, I just looked it up on Google, guys. There are 3 Merlins here. Oh my god. Okay, that's cool. Good to know. However, the lady who was floating suddenly said, "This is the Tudor family emblem." There we go! I said study the emblem. Oh my god, what did Klein stumble across in this underground place, man? Huh? Klein looked over in surprise, noting that Miss Bodyguard was referring to the hand holding the scepter. Tudor family, isn't this a relic of the 4th epoch Tudor dynasty? Which royal family member owned this palace? Which royal family member owned this palace? Klein frowned and said, do you recognize the other emblem? I think it was ranked as equal to Tudor family member. Miss Bodyguard shook her head without a word. Interesting. Why can't it just be like a wife and husband, right? Like, so I that's what I imagine. Like, I have seen like some Western shows where the king and the queen have like seats. Maybe, I guess, like, yeah, like hierarchy is clear, but everything you read, Klein, is not the truth. Seeing this, Klein had to give up the idea of studying it for the first time, for the time being, and said, after the Tudor and Tronosoest families established their respective empires, they both maintained the original style that originated from the Solomon Empire, such as inverted candlesticks, scuffed marks, and so on and so forth. This doesn't comply with common sense. If it were the Emperor, even if I had to inherit many things, I will still make certain changes to mark my uniqueness. Does this mean that the 3 empires have hidden, unchanging connections? I mean, remember who destroyed the big families of 4th epoch? It was the what was her name again? Crimson Lady. The Crimson Lady. How do you call her? The Crimson Lady, right? EVERNIGHT Goddess. There we go. EVERNIGHT Goddess. I don't know why I thought so long for that. It was the EVERNIGHT Goddess. I was waiting for the music to drop, by the way. I'm joking. So, and then EVERNIGHT Goddess is the main god in Loen. So maybe he was, or she was, telling all the scholars to not write about this. I would go every night to look for baddies. Nobody wants you, bro. The 3 emperors have hidden, unchanging connections. I mean, they should have, because maybe they like all teamed up to fight the EVERNIGHT Goddess. Wait, so EVERNIGHT Goddess destroyed the Antigonus, Solomon, Abraham family, but I don't know about the Tudor Empire. And it, interesting. Miss Buddy, okay, let's skip it a little bit. They quested Solomon Tudor and the Truno Est families wielded the Black Emperor, which was the lawyer pathway. Ooh, similar styles were needed for acting. I see, interesting. And in the lawyer family, you have to do a lot of scheming and stuff, right? Low-key like a swindler, no? Mommy? His bodyguard remained silent for a few seconds before saying a few words. Only an emperor can be called an emperor. Is this a confirmation of my idea? Klein didn't ask any questions. With the lantern in hand, he circled the 2 huge iron black chairs, but didn't discover anything else. Let's take a look ahead, Klein said. This is so interesting, by the way. Before I finished the sentence, Miss Bodyguard had already floated towards the end of the platform, but the surrounding gloominess and coldness remained unchanged. A few meters ahead, Klein saw... happening, bro. But the surrounding gloominess and coldness remained unchanged. A few meters ahead, Klein saw, with the help of the lantern's glow, 7 large, heavy, black stone doors. Interesting. Are there treasures here, maybe? At the base of the hall, they were lined up, 2 on the left, one in the middle, 4 on the right. Again, fucking OCD. Like, why do you make everything asymmetrical, man? Perfectly in line with the 4th epoch's pursuit of asymmetry. That's so annoying. They're rage baiting us. Klein passed the cane to his lantern hand, tossed a coin at random, and whispered, I shall begin from the left. Ding! Copper. Do I have Benny somewhere? Oh my god, there would have been peak sound effects, guys. The copper penny tumbled down, landed on this bone portrait facing up. Let's go to the left, Klein took the lead. Miss Bodyguard silently followed until they reached the door on the far left before saying ethereally, same on the right. In other words, it didn't matter whether I did divination. The corner of Klein's mouth curled up. Fucking getting annoyed at the bodyguard. As he raised the lantern and examined the symbols and patterns on the door. The deep black background, there was crimson half moon that was surrounded by radiant points of light. This, Klein pupils constricted suddenly. Crimson half moon. Interesting. Why would it? Isn't this the timing a little bit sus? Because during this time, the families in the empire haven't been defeated yet, right? Or is it just around the time? I guess, you know, she marked her territory. During the fourth epoch... Oh, you can't see, I'm sorry. You can't see at all, nobody told me. Guys, are you listening or reading with me? This Klein's pupils constricted suddenly. This is the dark sacred emblem, the symbol of the EVERNIGHT goddess. During the fourth epoch, the Church of EVERNIGHT had supported the Tudor dynasty. Maybe, and then they backstabbed, right? Backstabbing? He thoughtfully placed his hand on the stone door. Scream! The black stone door slowly opened amidst rough and heavy grinding sounds. Grrr. The light from the lantern shone into the room. Klein began to see the interior bit by bit. There was a few meters of open space of the entrance, also paved with dark stone tiles and a platform nearly a meter high. Klein cautiously moved forward, holding up the lantern to illuminate the item on the platform. So if the EVERNIGHT goddess did support the Tudor dynasty, I think she backstabbed them, right? 40. The EVERNIGHT goddess backstab Tudor Empire. Mostly listen, I'm working along your stream. That's cool. Sequence 8 listener, nice. I'm doing both. Oh, hello Lucy, how are you doing? Those who already read the novel probably didn't even notice. Oh, yeah, the facing. The black stone door slowly opened amidst rough and heavy grinding sounds. As the light from the lantern shone into the room, Klein began to see the interior bit by bit. There was a few meters of open space at the entrance, also paved with dark stone tiles, and a platform nearly a meter high. Klein cautiously moved forward, holding up the lantern to illuminate the item on the platform. A few seconds later, a fiery radiance formed the outline of a huge statue. It was about 4 to 5 meters long and almost filled with the entire room. It was an extremely beautiful lady, EVERNIGHT goddess, with a hazy face. Her right hand supported her head as she lay down on the platform. She wore a layered black classical dress that wasn't overly complex. There was a circle of radiant grace at the bottom of her head. It's a statue, right? But she was also laid down on a platform. Interesting way to build a statue. What? On this lady's dress there was a sparkling specks of radiance. There were pieces of bright and resplendent gems. Resplendent gems. At first glance, Klein felt as though he was seeing the night and the stars. This was outlined against the circle shape under the lady's head and resembled a full moon. A full moon? Not a crimson, not a half moon. This, Klein thought, seemed to freeze, but the guest immediately plowed its way from within. EVERNIGHT goddess? Wait, first time seeing how she actually looks like, right? Because there's no statues of EVERNIGHT goddess. Extremely beautiful, by the way. A layered black classical dress. Ah, that's cool. EVERNIGHT goddess? My bodyguard voice carried a large hint of puzzlement. Be it the symbolism or the actual form, it seemed to be sculpture of the goddess. Kleingeist finally took shape, echoing loudly in his mind. He remembered asking Tan Smith about one of the difference between an evil god and true god. The former was said to have an image that resembles that of an intelligent life form, but the latter only had sacred emblems, one-time symbol. I see. Today, at this very moment, in this bizarre underground structure, he saw a statue that looked like the EVERNIGHT goddess. What did this mean? I mean, I think we know that, right? I think we know that. It's that, you know, EVERNIGHT goddess, before becoming orthodox, was unorthodox, right? She only became orthodox after she beat the big families, right? What did this mean? Just thinking about it made Klein shudder. Would it be that goddess was once an evil god? Exactly, that's what we figured out earlier as well, right? What we figured out in the first season in donghua, even before the novel. Orthodox gods become orthodox gods from being unorthodox. Everything has a beginning. Everything has to happen in the past. There was a reason why they became, and the reason why they became orthodox is because they won the war, right? And what do I keep saying? The history books are written by the victors. That's also why the fourth epoch is so unknown. It's not because of lack of info, it's because a lot of the info was silenced as well, right? No, maybe it's some other evil god that falls in this night domain. Yeah, sure. Over the dark sacred emblem by the door is no different from the one that is being used presently. Or perhaps having the image of an intelligent being isn't a standard method to distinguish between true gods and evil gods. After all, the captain's level wasn't high enough, and this understanding of the situation wasn't necessarily accurate enough. It's also possible that the tutors were deliberately blaspheming the goddess. I still think it's the goddess was an ally of the Tudor Empire, and then she stabbed them in the back, right? It also could be a way of setting up some strange ritual. Many thoughts flashed through Klein's mind. It left him feeling puzzled, nervous, and tense. However, it also felt a strange feeling which couldn't be described. After looking around, Klein, who didn't see anything else, took a deep breath and said, "Let's go to the other doors and take a look. I wonder what the other 6 doors correspond to. Would it be equally strange and evil?" He thought gravely. Maybe it's all of the Orthodox gods? The statues of all the Orthodox gods, by the way, maybe? Let's see though. His bodyguard nodded slowly. The innermost room. Let's see, guys, let's see. I'm gonna go pee. I need to pee. So go pee as well if you need to. Be right back. Hello, my guys. Guys, that's have a greeting. Anyway, what's up, guys? I want to say what's up, like friends, and then I said what's up, guys, and then I was like, guys, I'm back. I don't know. Office, like what? Hello, rare. Anyway, the innermost room. When he was out of the room, Klein carefully held his cane and lantern in the same hand, leaving his left hand free so they could retrieve the contents of his pocket as quickly as possible. In the event that there was sudden turn of events, inside there were charms, Aussie copper whistle, some tarot cards, and apart from the remaining Osago's characteristics, the all black eye, his pocket contained all the means available to him. What the fuck is happening? What is Merlin doing, man? Klein and Miss Bodyguard had barely taken a step to the side when the light of the lantern illuminated the emblem on the door next to them. It was a simple drawing of a baby. Okay, honored by the symbols of wheat, flowers, and spring water. It's like the emblem of Earth. I was gonna say the Earth Mother, Klein said in a solemn voice. As a former Nighthawk, one of his basic skills was being able to distinguish the symbols of other churches. Miss Bodyguard nodded slightly. Isn't the Earth Mother like church and the god of like Earth Mother itself like suppressed in Lowen Kingdom? Maybe what happened in the fourth epoch was that when the goddess, the EVERNIGHT goddess, was fighting with all the families, that the Earth Mother took the side of the families, and that's why the Earth Mother and the Church of Apothecary, whatever, is suppressed. The former Nighthawk, one of his basic skills, yeah. His bodyguard nodded slightly as though to confirm this. Her black gothic regal dress looked ever eerier and terrifying in such an environment and atmosphere. Her pale face looked like a grieving wraith under the illumination of the lantern. If any adventurer were to come here and see the scene, they would definitely flee while stumbling out of fear. Holding his breath, Klein reached out with his left hand, pushed open the stone door, and raised the lantern high. He found that the layout here was very similar to the one before, like a perfect fusion between a small prayer room and a trance statue. Across the empty wheat-colored stone tiles, Klein illuminated the 3 steps ahead of him with a lantern. On the platform was a white stone sculpture about 4 or 5 meters tall. It was a plump and beautiful lady. Hello? With ears of wheat growing from her feet. Ew. As she was surrounded by spring water, her dress seemed to flutter, and embedded in it were different herbs and flowers, as well as a description of different animals. Oh my god. Oh my god, hello? Okay, I mean, she and her followers are now suppressed, by the way. They are discriminated against. And that's because she was the enemy of the EVERNIGHT goddess. That's the reason, right? Earth Mother. Literally a mommy? The lady's chest was raised high, and in her arms was an adorable infant in swaddling clothes. She stood here tall and sacred. Don't tell me this is the statue of Earth Mother, Klein said softly with the lips curled. Miss Bodyguard didn't confirm or deny it. In the future, by the way, there's gonna be a statue of Klein being the god of the sewer pathway, just saying. After checking their surroundings, the duo left the room and opened the third door near. Hello? Can you see me? I said my stream disconnected. What the fuck? Hello? Wait, let me check the stream live. Hello, hello, hello? Can you see me? It lagged. Are we back? We back? Okay, we back. That scared me. Anyway. Mommy. Earth Mommy. Earth Mommy? Klein said softly with his lips curled. Miss Bodyguard didn't confirm and deny it. After checking their surroundings, the duo left the room and opened the third door nearby. Behind this door was a corridor that allowed 4 people to walk outside each other. Ahead of them, it was a dark and deep, filled with mystery and oddities. It was unknown where it led to. Let's first confirm the situation behind the 4 doors on the right, Klein suggested. He intended to rashly enter. Using her actions as an answer, Miss Bodyguard floated backward. Ears is what you call a group of... Oh, I see. I did not know that. The duo opened the door, the 4 stone doors on the right in succession. They separately saw the storm sacred emblem. Ooh, there we go. Which was made up the symbol of gales and stormy waves. The sacred emblem of the sun, which was surrounded by lines. The sacred emblem of the god of combat, which was made from a combination of the symbol for dusk and sword. There's 7 doors, right? There's 7 doors. Maybe these were the previous Orthodox gods? Wait. Are all of them still Orthodox though? Oh, they are still are. Maybe that's when they. Which was made from the combination of the symbol of a dusk and sword-shaped symbol, as well as the sacred symbol of knowledge and wisdom, which was represented by an open book and omniscient eye. In contrast, there were 4 suspected statues of deities in the room. A dignified middle-aged man in black armor, standing over a churning wave, surrounded by stormy winds. With lightning flashing behind him and trident in his hand. There was a young man in a pure white robe. Oh, this is the god of sun. As in sacred emblem of the sun, yeah. Holding a book of deeds in one hand and a golden sphere which resembled the sun in the other. He was handsome and spirited. There was another warrior on a sitting throne. There was a warrior sitting on a throne high above, holding a sword in front of him. His face was hidden behind his helmet visor. His entire body covered with an indescribable sense of decay. There was a hooded elder holding a book and omniscient eye with one of his mouth wrinkles and long white beard exposed. Apart from the god of steam and machinery, there were 6 humanoid statues of the Orthodox gods in this strange hall. Considering the weak position of the church of the god of steam and machinery before the appearance of Roselle, there seemed to be some sort of explanation regarding this problem. This is really strange, Klein exclaimed with a sigh, but partially because he couldn't stop it and partially because he was testing his bodyguard's reaction. That sort of made me think he'd really did a science. No, not worry that. But was it mentioned that EVERNIGHT goddess destroyed all ancient families? Yeah, they did. That's why, like, you know, the Tudor Empire perished by her. Okay, let's keep reading. The grand hall, which was 100 meters deep, actually had 6 of the other class collected within it. What about the 7? We have 6 versus 7. There's something unimaginable in the current era. How could the Church of the 6 true gods allow their gods to live in the same structure as the other gods? It was a custom that only existed during the 4th epoch. Also, what's with those humanoid statues? Oh, because all gods are beyonders and you can become a god, Klein. Although they look normal, unlike the sinister primordial demoness and the true creator statues, they still give off weird vibes. Does it what had happened to make the images of 6 people evolve into abstract symbols is this in this state of age? No, perhaps it's been like this all this time, but the master of this place, a noble who was suspected to be a member of Tudor families who purposely created statues with 6 deities for some purpose. I thought of an item from a novel from my previous life, the 6 Soul Banner. Is that cultivation novel? While he waited for Miss Bodyguard reply, Klein's mind wandered. Miss Bodyguard didn't answer his query and instead said blandly, "It's another door." That's right. Oh, it's the 7th door, guys. Klein suddenly felt fear. In his opinion, doors placed in the center often had a special meaning. Perhaps the core of this ancient building. Of course, it also meant that the situation was most likely the most dangerous. What are your thoughts on this area? Klein hesitated for 2 seconds and directly asked. On the situation of not being able to use the grey fog to eliminate any interference, he felt that Miss Bodyguard's spiritual perception and spiritual instincts were more reliable than his divination means at present. After all, she was in a very special state close to that of a spiritual body. Yeah, exactly. Maybe she's a traveler or something, allowing her to communicate with the spiritual without any obstruction to gain revelations. Miss Bodyguard closed her eyes and replied a few seconds later, "Very dangerous, but danger is subdued. Once you venture deeper, don't touch anything." Subdued. Also, Is this a coincidence, by the way, that Carter came in and asked Klein to investigate this? Because we're getting so many assists. You know what I mean? Once you venture deeper, don't touch anything. Subdued danger. Is this... I have coincidence PTSD. I know it's not Ints. Ints has no idea that Klein is alive. I don't think it's 008 acting alone as well. I think it's like the higher being, like the Lord of Mysteries, controlling Klein's fate. You know what I mean? The light of the lantern seemed to dim a little as though it found it difficult to drive out the darkness ahead. Klein had his left... had his left hand in his pocket holding Aasig's copper whistle and a few charms. After about 30 steps, Mrs. Bodyguard suddenly stopped. Klein raised the lantern in his right hand and saw that the road ahead was blocked by boulders and dirt. On the left and right were two stone doors in the same shape as the ones in main hall. What's the emblem on it? The right side was Ajar and filled with mud and stone. Perhaps this ancient structure was above ground back then. Yeah, that's what I said as well, by the way. There was some reason it eventually sank and collapsed, Klein mumbled. There's only one direction we can choose from. I mean, ground can change a lot in 1300 years, by the way. Before he could finish his words, he saw Miss Bodyguard float ahead, stick to the huge rock, fuse into it and disappear. Klein's mouth twitched and he began to patiently wait. After a few minutes of Miss Bodyguard came out from the mud on the right side, body completely free of dust. It's completely collapsed, suddenly concluded flatly. For a moment Klein was speechless and could only smile. Following that, the two of them simultaneously looked to the left where the ajar stone door was. There was a tiny crack. Klein went closer and carefully looked through the 3-centimeter gap. His spirit vision, which had originally been blocked by the stone door, immediately discovered something. There was at least 4 bright and powerful spiritual lights inside. The 2 that were close to dark golden color and 2 that were dark blue like the sea. What the hell is that middle door, man? What's in it? After using his spirit vision, a quote-unquote narrow scene appeared in Klein's normal vision. The firelight that entered the room illuminated the black stone tiles. On top of the tiles were piles of bones covered with rotten clothing. Oh, corpses from 1300 years ago or more, and a few of them made a dark gold and dark blue light. Condensed beyond their characteristic mystical items. As this thought flashed through his mind, Klein swept his gaze to the ends of the room. Along the dark walls stood a double door. Under a double door, by the way. Bloody pair of double doors. Seemed to be remnants of fresh blood. Fresh blood? What the fuck? Fresh blood on the door. It continued sliding down as they reflected the light. Klein had wanted to let Miss Bodyguard scout the way ahead when he suddenly felt a change in Aasig's copper whistle that was holding in his hand. Oh no, they're bringing the bodies back to life. Originally called a mild whistle, suddenly became bone-piercing. It was a profound feeling of death. This Klein narrowed his eyes and instantly took a step back. Then he noticed that his right forearm was numb and itchy, and that it was beginning to swell. A scene flashed through his mind as he immediately took out the tarot card with his left hand and slashed across his arm. Oh my god, okay. A surge from his wound wasn't good, but tiny black squirming worms. Ew! Are we in like a illusion right now? Sizzle. Man, what the... These worms fell to the ground, they eroded into a smoke. They struggled and puddled, but in the end they were under the glow of the lantern. After a few seconds, all the black worms in Klein's wound finally flowed out, living. They were actually inside Klein. Holy shit, by the way. Black worms? As in like small worms? How did they get there? Getting exciting. After a few seconds, the black worms in Klein's wound finally flowed out, leaving only crimson liquid. He wriggled his muscles to control the small wound, blood from flowing further. Smart to got it, by the way. Very smart. Who's in charge of music? They're doing a great job with the mood. I am. I'm in charge of the music. Miss Bodyguard watched this scene quietly, her pretty eyebrows or rarely seen frown. Oh, why are you frowning? Guess it's danger then. Danger, danger. Klein was just about to speak when he discovered the coldness and deadliness of Asik's copper whistle hadn't abated. At the same time, his gaze landed on Miss Bodyguard's shadow. Never had a shadow to begin with. Run! Klein shouted and immediately ran towards the hall. Miss Bodyguard quickly floated up, so she can't be like inside or like in the air between spirit world and real world, right? Because she was like half inside the spirit world, kinda floating. And Miss Buddy, let me change it to battle music. 1 second. Run! Klein shouted and immediately ran towards the hall. Miss Bodyguard quickly floated up, and the two of them saw the lantern light in front of them gradually being swallowed up by a black shadow. Klein ran like a hurricane as fast as she could, while the light around him faded away. The shadow grew bigger and bigger, closer and closer, thicker and thicker. Oh, jeez, that's scary. The light from the flame was about to be completely engulfed, and that moment the door was still a few meters away. So Asik's copper whistle kinda like warned Klein as well, right? It's like a signaling. Even though I'm pretty sure it also brought back the corpses, just like how it brought back that politician guy who had sex with Demoness Sharon, right? Interesting. At that moment, Klein instinctively rushed forward and then rolled across the stone door. The light from the fire suddenly brightened, and the uneasiness in his heart instantly disappeared. Asik's copper whistle also returned to its mild and calm state. Yeah, it's like a signaling when danger is near, right? Also, why was there fresh blood? Miss Bodyguard floated beside him as she turned around and looked at the passageway, which had once again sunk into darkness. She said with an uncertain tone, "Evil spirit." Evil spirit, Klein almost drew a deep. Didn't Bodyguard say that, oh, there is great danger, but the danger has been subdued? Don't touch anything? Did we touch something or what? Did we touch something? Evil spirit, Klein almost drew a deep breath when he heard that. Fortunately, as a clown, he was good at controlling his expression and reactions. In the field of mysticism, evil spirits were extremely terrifying monsters. The best of them could ever be said to be on the same level as high secrets beyonders. Oh shit. An evil spirit is wandering within this ancient structure. For some reason, it's bound or imprisoned within that room. If it was an evil spirit, that explains why Mr. Asik's copper whistle responded. Yeah, exactly. An evil spirit can be considered as an undead creature. Klein stood up and also looked at the path, which was now submerged in darkness. He felt as if there was a pair of cold eyes staring at him. Probably is. The spirit is looking, bro. Anyway, I do think, by the way, that one way to like subdue it is to make another sun charm, but I think that's impossible because the 3072, I think that was the sun emblem code, is not with Klein, and I'm pretty sure he ran out of charms. So we need to defeat the evil spirit somehow, or Carter needs to live with the evil spirit in his basement all this time, by the way. Like, I wonder, like, this is definitely something that after Klein is done, they should inform the government. But then again, all of the reveals that all the statues of gods are gonna be like leaked to the public, so they can just make up a story that, oh, it's like, you know, the depictions of the gods and not really them. It's just some mad Tudor noble made them for like a cult or like some kind of ritual or something, right? We're probably gonna keep this info hidden from the public anyway. I'm just why are you glazing me, guys? Why are you glazing me? I feel like I'm doing the by the way, I'm honest. I'm not that smart. I feel like I'm just go an extra step to try to figure things out, right? And take a lot of guesses. That's what I do. I try really hard. And sometimes I miss the obvious, you know? Anyway, next chapter, let's go. Big brain is far-fetched. I would say. Anyway. Why does it always get messed up, dude? I don't move anything, do I? Dream. What do you mean dream? Maybe a nightmare? A vision? Just a normal dream? Anyway, it's Saturday, that means Monday soon, but I feel like we need to wrap up the Carter underground ruin arc and find out what's in the middle of the room at the end. I feel like it's gonna be like a statue of unorthodox god that maybe used to be an orthodox god in the 4th epoch. We'll see. I'm surprised Klein was. I'm also surprised that Klein was surprised to find out that the Orthodox god haven't always been Orthodox. That like, you know, idea went through his mind, but then he did like some other like guesses, like, oh, the Tudor Empire guy was just making statues without not actually gods. But I do think that that's actually how they look like. I think the EVERNIGHT goddess looks like that, like on the statue. I think the Earth Mommy looks like that as well. Anyway, let's keep reading. In the cold and gloomy hall, Klein suddenly shivered. He retracted his gaze and said to Miss Bodyguard, "Let's return." And the way Isaac's copper whistle reacted, it's likely that the room contains a terrifying evil spirit. Its danger level is highly likely to be above that of Marionettist Rosago, really, and Hurricane Chilangos. It's been roaming these confines for centuries or to thousands of years, perhaps already equivalent to a high sequence beyonder. So the fresh blood maybe is like illusion from the evil spirit, right? There's actually no like fresh blood there, surely. If it wasn't for its experiencing difficulties in letting its powers escape the room, I would already be dead. Even if Miss Bodyguard is a powerful sequence 5, there's no hope for us during the tides of a battle with our powers combined. One needs to be aware of one's strength and cannot be enticed by the suspected beyonder characteristics and mystical items left in there. Speed often leads to death. Come on, Klein, be a loot goblin. Klein suddenly came up with a reason to convince himself. Miss Bodyguard turned her head to look at him without much emotion in her eyes. She asked, "What happens next?" Klein silently gritted his teeth and said with deliberation, "Let Carter get the police. Who knows when this evil spirit will escape? It's best to finish it as soon as possible." No, that won't work. Mr. Carter doesn't know enough by informing the police this way. The police department won't pay enough attention to it. The first batch of people who come to explore this place will suffer heavy casualties, and they might even indirectly help the evil spirit escape from his restraints. Oh my god, smart thinking, Klein. Also, for me to see the statues, a detective like me might be silenced. You see the bones and spiritual light in the room? Bodyguard once again cast her gaze towards the dark path behind the ajar stone door and very slightly nodded her head. Klein thought quickly and said, "My guess is that these are the corpses of the explorers from before." Oh! I guess maybe like from years ago? Because they said like, oh, some things look like they're more recent, some things look like they are previous epoch, right? I'm not getting paid enough for this shit. I know, right? But imagine if it gets hands on these beyonder characteristics and these like mystical items. It would be insane. They were killed by the evil spirit in the room, and one of the beyonders left behind some mystical items. It might have had something to do with Viscount family. Yeah, exactly. That lived beyond this premise. I plan to inquire about their last name. Go to the library and look for information about their descendants. Perhaps it might gain some valuable clues. After coming to a preliminary confirmation of the situation, I'll make a choice based on the severity of the situation. I might get some explosives. Ooh, destroy the door and or send an anonymous letter to the police detailing the existence of the spirit. However, I have to think of a way to avoid the risk ahead of time. It isn't too urgent. I can't take my time. Make sure the Carter doesn't like pass through the first door, you know. Miss Bodyguard quietly listened to what Klein had to say. Looking ahead, she said in an ethereal voice, "Are you not considering to get people to exorcise this evil spirit?" Exorcise. Exorcise? I always struggle with this word. Let's see. How do they pronounce exorcise?
Exorcise.
Why is that voice so real?
Exorcise.
Exorcise. the evil spirit. I think I said it pretty close enough, right? Even if there were no mystical items left behind, the remains of the evil spirit dissipates are still precious enough. It's the first time I've seen you talk so much. Probably, Klein replied without hesitation. The risk is too high. I think my life and health are more important. He organized his words and added, the most powerful person I know is you, and from your performance just now, I don't seem to be a match for that evil spirit. I can imagine other way of finishing it other than calling the police. Somehow can maybe, you know, make another sun charm. Miss Bodyguard turned around, her pale face somewhat translucent. You still have some sense, she commented calmly, then drifted toward the exit of the ancient hall. Other than being suspected to be under the true creature's influence, in what way do I look like a madman? Klein silently lampooned. Oh my god, lampoon again, by the way. Exorcise. Exactly, thank you, Becca. He held the lantern at Kane and followed behind Miss Bodyguard through the entire process. He felt as if he was being watched by the cold eyes of the dark corridor. It was only when they walked out of the stone door that suffused the ancient aura with the feeling suddenly disappear. Klein turned around and closed the door, sealing the inverted candlesticks, scuffed marks, and the creepy statues of the 6 deities, allowing them to continue their 1,000-year-long slumber in that unchanging darkness and silence. Patting the dust off his clothes, he switched to the lantern in his other hand and hurried back to meet at Carter's basement. For Miss Bodyguard, she had disappeared to thin air as usual. Carter is not gonna like this, by the way. Millard Carter was pacing about in the basement when he saw Klein exit. He hurriedly asked, "How is it? What's the situation inside?" Klein had long thought of an excuse. I said with an expression of fear. "Terrible. There are lots of snakes in there, and many spots have collapsed. I plan to gather some information. There are some manpower, and once preparations are done, to another round of exploration. During this period of time, it's best that you don't send anyone in. Believe me, there are more venomous snakes in there than you can imagine." So the snakes are there. They just made it their home, right? The snakes are just chilling, right? Made it their home. Like a good, cool place. Not too hot. Maybe a little bit like, a bit humidity there as well. Made it their home. Hila threw a gasp and asked in fear, "Will they slither out? Will they slither out? Do you know any experts that can snakes?" Help and turn. Old Autumn. Hey, please. I'll close the door and prevent anyone from it. Let me that braxed a little. Klein saw that his prayer was truly by what he said. He quickly put down the lantern, so probably he's not gonna go right inside. Then someone notched his gold-rimmed spectacles and said, "Next up, I'll gather some information. I'll first gain a preliminary next up I'll gather some information. I'll first gain a preliminary understanding of the layout of the underground structure before I explore it again. It requires you to tell me of which Viscount was the original owner of this house." Millet had bought this building precisely because it was an estate of former nobles, who answered immediately. Viscount Pound. Imagine being named after money, by the way. What the hell? Awa is too much. Oh, what's happening? Hello? 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 That's crazy. What's happening today? Stream lagged, now microphone is trolling me. Viscount Pound. Imagine being called Pound. What do you know about him or his family? Klein asked in a professional manner. Millet pondered and said, "Oh, not much. I only know that he won his aristocratic title in the Battle of Violated Oath." What? It once enjoyed an illustrious period, but decades later suddenly declined to unknown reasons. The family kept losing its heirs, causing it to eventually have to seek out distant relatives to keep the aristocratic title, and the new Viscount Pound is he squandered most of the family's fortune and was demoted to baronet by the king. He probably still in Backlund and can go bankrupt any moment. Nice. That's why he got the house for cheap, right? Because he was like probably hurried to sell it off. I'm guessing that, you know, this old timer got it for cheap. Battle of Violated Oath. The Battle of Violated Oath that began in 738 during the 5th epoch. Interesting. We're gonna learn some like modern history as well. Having successfully graduated as history student, Klein instinctively recalled the corresponding knowledge. So the Viscount family basically that was inheriting it, this house pound, falling off quite literally, right? What's up, Sakute? Modern, like near modern, you know? The last 500 years, modern. The war that happened about 6 centuries ago was a war involving religion. The southern Feinaboter kingdom originally believed in both Earth Mummy and the god of knowledge and wisdom, but due to some influencing factors, the two churches began to be at odds with each other and their believers often clashed. I wonder if the gods themselves also clashed. During that period, its two neighbors in the north, the Lowen Kingdom and Intis Kingdom, seized the opportunity to start a war in the name of protecting freedom of religion. In the later stages of war, the Faesak Empire joined the fray and attempted to destroy the ploy by Lowen and Intis, however, still failed to turn the situation around. The result of the war was that the border between Lowen and Feinaboter, as well as Intis and Feinaboter countries such as Lenburg, Massin and Segar gained independence. They mainly believed in the god of knowledge and wisdom, leaving the Church of Earth Mother and the only religion in the Feinaboter kingdom. I see. Let me copy this info. The conflict that lasted 5 years was called the Battle of Violated Oath because both sides of the war accused their adversaries of violating the holy oath at the end of the 4th epoch. After that, there was more than 300 years of peace in another continent. This didn't mean that there were no conflict between nations, but rather there were no wars on that scale again. It lasted until Rosell invented the steam engine and improved the sailboats and artillery. This is like a big war, you know? A big war, as in like multiple kingdoms were in it. After that, there was more than 300 years of peace in another continent. Yeah. This is the information recorded in the history textbooks. Thinking about it now, since it involved faith, there must have been some Beyonders from the search that involved. There must have been an intense Beyonder war. However, it said that the era was a period of few Beyonders. Squadron battles? Well, the Pound family, sudden waning and continuous loss of heirs, which happened decades ago, have something to do with the discovery of the ancient structure underground. Klein thoughtfully asked, "Do you know where Baronet Pound currently lives?" "I'm sorry, I don't know." Millard shook his head slightly. Klein asked a few more questions, but seeing that he couldn't get any more info, he bade farewell and returned to 15 Main Street. Where are we getting money after we like completely fixed the situation, I guess? It was almost 5 in the afternoon and the sky was dark as the night. Klein thought that the public libraries would have been closed by then, so he temporarily put aside the underground structure and prepared dinner for himself. He wanted to learn to make peanut butter noodles based on a recipe in the newspaper, but he ended up with noodles mixed in meat sauce and vegetables. He was surprised they tasted pretty good. After having like ramen? After having his fill, Klein tossed a coin, casually divining if he should inform the police. He received a negative answer. Interesting, okay. The Backland evening was as serene as other cities, at least in Sherwood Borough. Klein was sleeping soundly and wandering through different dreams. Okay, so this is the title, was Dreams, so let's see what dreams do we see. Wandering through different dreams in an adrift manner when he suddenly realized with a jolt that he was dreaming. Oh, lucid dream? Someone is invading in my dreams. Is it our bodyguard or what? Klein resisted the urge to frown and pretended to look around in confusion. He found himself in a scorching yellow desert. A roar, the evil spirit somehow? The roar suddenly came from the sky. The huge monster died in black and cold flew over. Dragon? Creature had a thick lizard-like body and a pair of wide wings covered in a hide on its back. It descended and plotted out the sun in the sky. Leonard? What do you mean, Leonard? A dragon, a powerful dragon. Klein saw the scales and sizes of a plate, a gaping mouth that emitted pure light, and 2 dark golden vertical pupils. Does someone want him to see that dream, or does someone just... So there's a night, at least a sleepless pathway, at least nightmare, maybe higher. Maybe it can be another like pathway that invades streams as well. Dragon spat out a beam of light that seemed to envelop everything. Soon large swaths of the desert was obliterated. Interesting. Is this like the maybe he's dreaming about the event in past that you know he needs to see? Maybe somehow the evil spirit is showing it. Maybe it's just dream divination, but it didn't do dream divination though. He was Blind was like, oh, someone's invading my dreams. Maybe he did. Maybe he did a dream divination accident somehow. This dragon. What? Where am I? Here. Amid the light, a figure jumped into the air. He was 3 or 4 meters tall, but didn't have the unique vertical eye of the giants. He had a handsome young face. Oh, a giant? And he wore black full body armor, which seemed to be spattered with blood. The giant knight swung his broadsword upwards in countless bluish. It's one of Seer's pathways. Oh, sorry, passives. Oh, maybe, yeah, true. Can just happen. I guess so. Maybe he's having a coincidental dream vision. Handsome young face, and they wore black full body armor which seemed to be spattered with blood. This giant knight swung his broadsword upwards to countless bluish white flames which appeared in little purple, condensed into long spears. Ooh! They showed that a dragon. It was if you had an entire army of illusory beyonders helping him in battle. In the midst of the meteor shower, the giant knight leaped onto the head of the dragon. Oh my god! And he swung his sword down. The after image he had created earlier instantly overlapped, and the sword rays turned into intersecting lightning. I think he's seeing a dream of the past, which is actually what happened in the past. Pow! The ground shook wildly, and the dragon fell, splattering its dark cold blood. At that moment, the scene changed to a huge bloody door. It was the same bloody door that Klein had seen in the ancient structure in the afternoon. Oh, that's why, maybe, right? Because he was there. So, I'm guessing... So the desert... It was in a desert, though. The desert got obliterated after the dragon, you know, breathed on it, or breathed on it. The creak, the body door opened a crack, allowing to catch a glimpse of the black high back chair. A man of normal height sat on the high chair. He had his head lowered, silent and deathly still. As his vision got closer and closer, Klein saw the man's clothes clearly. He seemed to be a knight that had just killed a dragon. Why is he a normal size then? And he was still wearing the black armor that was stained with blood. The only difference was that he was no longer 3 or 4 meters tall. Maybe if you're on the giant pathway, you can like change height. At this moment, the man suddenly raised his head. His handsome young face had terrifying signs of decay. His eyes cold and demolished. Maybe that's like Tudor family noble, right? His eyes cold and emotionless. Klein jumped in right and awoke from his dream. Opening his eyes, he saw the crimson moonlight shining through the curtain. That was scary as fuck, dude. Maybe he's the evil spirit that's haunting right now. He's like one of the leaders or nobles of the Tudor Empire. That like... Oh. Art? Okay, let's quickly look at art. Thanks, boss. Okay, let's see some art fast. This is the guy. Oh my god, he has cute red hair. Interesting. Sorry. Wait, more? Oh my god, this is the statue of Mommy. This is statue of EVERNIGHT Goddess, and this is the bodyguard here. This is so fucking beautiful. I did not expect it to be this big. Ooh, I can't wait to see Earth Mummy as well. Oh, this is the bodyguard again. Wow. I'm gonna look at the images above as well. Just wanna say, by the way, that the design is insanely cool. Is this fan art or official art? Look at the chains here. I wonder if we chained the dragon as well. He looks cool, man. Maybe he's on the lawyer pathway because, you know, the Tudor Empire, they had like the lawyer pathway. Official fan. Okay, look at the images above. Sure. Can I look at this? Oh, this is so cool. Same one. Oh, EVERNIGHT Goddess. Yeah, this is how I imagined her actually. I love how she's holding the moon on her hand, by the way. Damn. Okay. She looks so cool, by the way. These are the what is this going around? Hull from her pathway. Oh, this is the Lord of Storms. Looks yeah, looks like Olger. This is like the same blue hair. That's the only thing, but this is Olger when he gets older. By the way, when he becomes even more Ankh. You know what I mean? Oh, the cape is like waves. That's so cool. Look at the cape. Look at the cape. That's so insane. And look at the lightning and look at the trident. Wow. Yeah, of course, young man, right? Dressed in white. Having the sun on his palm, by the way. So cool. This is how I imagine Tarek in the future, by the way. Cape. Why does the cape have like multiple tails? Interesting. Very cool. Oh, the god of knowledge. Very wise. Scholariola. Or Ola. Aura. God of aura, this guy. Damn, okay. Cool outfit. Aula. Sorry. My accent, bro. Aura. Looks so fucking cool. With a grey beard. Oh, this is Earth Mommy. Damn, okay. I thought Earth Mommy has like butterfly here as well. That's cool. And the infant on her arms and the little like tiara and the flowers. Cool. Oh, the god of combat. Me fight. Me fight. That's how I imagine the people from Northern Continent to be like, by the way. Battle. Right? Anyway, look at this fucking badass though. Look at this six-pack, you know? I'm jealous. He's so tall as well, dude. One eye. Look at the one eye, dude. I'm racist? How am I racist? How am I racist? How was that racist? Against Northern Continent? I'm not racist, bro. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. That's cool, though. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for the fan art, guys. This is the most, like, chilling, by the way. Look how hot she is. Anyway. I think the dream, what he saw... Also, if this guy is on the lawyer pathway, then I guess maybe lawyers can make this a little taller than they are, right? Because he went from 3 to 4 meters to like to what normal sized after, and I think he's the evil spirit as well. Anyway, thank you guys, thank you. Let's read the next chapter right now. After an ad though. Do not make it into a gift. I'm warning you guys. One second, guys. There we go. Okay. Spiritual perception and attempt. Attempt for what? Under the theme Crimson Moonlight, Klein pulled back his blanket and caught up. For a seer, putting weight on dreams was a basic requirement. I think it's like a vision from past. And the dream he just had could never be dismissed as a simple nightmare. Dressed in relatively comfortable clothes, he came before the full body mirror and said in a low voice, I dreamed of the blood-stained door in that room. His bodyguard figure slowly outlined itself by the mirror, replied expressionlessly. The influence of the evil spirit's aura. Yeah, exactly, that's what I said. It will gradually weaken until it disappears. Is that so? Klein nodded slightly and returned to the side of the bed. He took the cold pocket watch and popped it open. Seeing that it was still early, he lay back down to sleep. This time he no longer encountered the same dream as before. Sunday morning the next day, in high spirits, Klein made himself a soft boiled egg to go with buttered bread. Yum! Yummy, yummy, yum! In the Loan Kingdom, or rather in the countries of the northern continent, it was must for gentlemen to read the newspaper at breakfast. Klein had no exception. He opened up the newspaper, he subscribed to the Dussex Times, Backland Morning Post and Backland Bulletin. 3 newspapers, damn dude. Getting all the political spectrums covered. The Civil Servant Unified Examination Bill has... Ooh, let's fucking go! Has been passed by the House of Lords. I'm surprised they passed it because... usually they want like nepotism to still exist, right? The first examination will be held in early December and second examination will be held at the end of January next year. We are rooting for Benson, by the way. Go, go, Benson! Go, go, Benson! Go, go, Benson! Go, go, Benson! The final interview will be held 2 weeks after that. Within a week, the government will announce the positions and requirements involved in this exam and begin the registration process. The reports summarize that most of it will be held in Backland. No, I'm gonna time you out for saying cringe, bro. That was not cringe. Nothing about Benson is cringe. Time out, 10 seconds. Get fricked. Klein report summarized that most of it will be held in Backland. Klein scanned the contents, picked up his cup and sipped his sip of black tea. He couldn't help but think of Benson and thought to himself, the bill is passed at the end of September, the positions will be announced in the beginning of October and the registrations will be completed by early November. The examination will start at the beginning of December. The timing is tight and very unreasonable. Wow. That implies how much of a rush the king and prime minister is to have this enacted. I mean, first of all, by the way, I just want to say that Benson has been preparing for this, so if other people have less time crunch, Benson is gonna be number 1, he's gonna become the prime minister, and life is good. But that's advantageous, exactly, advantageous for Benson. He prepared 2 months ahead of everyone else. Even if he can't compare to the elite graduates of the universities, he will definitely be able to beat most of his competition. And the positions the elites are aiming for won't clash with this. He should be fine. He's more than fine, man. Klein wanted to tap his chest 4 times to draw out the crimson moon and say, may the goddess bless him, but then he remembered that Miss Bodyguard was nearby and resisted the urge. After all, he had claimed to be a believer of the god of steam and machinery. After finishing his last mouthful of bread, he continued reading the papers. Both houses have passed the National Atmospheric Pollution Council bill, allowing the government to set up such an organization. The coming month will be a critical period for the various parties to become a member of the council. Independent alkali industry public prosecutor has been approved with the goal of minimizing the pollution levels in acid and alkali factories. Yeah, they're cooking up some shit smoke, man. The 5th page doesn't have any advertisement for the purchase of goods from the Ernst film. No need to consider participating in the Beyonder gathering tomorrow night. Ah, yeah, true, they put like ads for Ernst firm, and then the numbers are the knocks, you know, like that, right? Dingen City. Oh, Dingen City! Dingen! Benson! Benson is back! No way! No way, bro! The GOAT! It's him! It's him! Benson read and reread and... Oh my god, bro is gonna become prime minister with all of this, like, success, right? Benson read and reread the news in papers, forgetting the bread on his plate. The Civil Servant Unified Examination Bill was passed. Dressed in a long black dress. Oh, Melissa still wearing a long black dress. What the hell? Melissa looked at her brother, who was acting oddly. The newspaper of the past few days had been playing up the bill that will be passed this time. Benson finally put down the newspaper, wiped his black chair, and exhaled slowly. Yes. At that moment, the two of them suddenly fell into silence. The room was completely silent. It even lacked the sound of knives and forks colliding with the dining plates. The indescribable atmosphere was broken by Bella, the maid who came out of the kitchen. Benson smiled and said, "This is foreseeable. Actually, the most important thing is the previous piece of news." Oh? Melissa's expression was unusually quiet. Benson took a bite of his bread and smiled. The news that the Backland Polytechnic of Technology will be restructured into a university. Oh! It'll formally accept students next year. It won't need tests on grammar and classical literature, but will lead focus on technical aspects. It's very suitable for graduates and students of technical schools everywhere. Oh, Melissa can get in, bro. Melissa, I think you can try. But Melissa subsequently retorted. Benson interrupted her with a smile. Interesting how, you know, Benson is talking about Melissa, about the school and like her opportunity, and not mentioning the exams, right? Its tuition will be half as cheap as Dingen, Perth, K-Boy, and Backland at the other universities, equivalent to the constant industry universities in Middershire, and there will be even more opportunities for scholarship. Melissa, don't you like the machinery, steam, and this stuff? I'm so happy reading Melissa and Benson, by the way. I'm so fucking happy. It's the best opportunity for you to have access to much advanced and deeper knowledge. I even said in the first volume that we're gonna see Benson and Melissa again, but in a context that they are like without Klein and knowing that Klein exists, right? Still, and is alive, I mean. Give it a try, how about it? Don't worry about the wasting of money. Although that money can allow us to maintain our present lives without working, we're still young. We must not define our lives like this. As you can see, compared to a few months ago, my grammar has improved a lot. It might be if we change environments. It might be better if we change environments. I know you can't bear part of the thing, but this... Oh my god, Melissa and Benson are gonna move to Backland and they're gonna run into Klein in an accident. What the frick? That's what I think. I know you can't bear with Dingen, and this place, well, we'll come back eventually, but not when we're young. Melissa looked at the various components on the coffee table as her lips moved a few times, and she said, What about Pella? After Klein's death, she didn't want to hire any more maidservants, but when thought of how tragic Pella's life would be after she lost her job, she gave up the idea. After all the extra expense of 5 soldi a week was already nothing to the Moretti family, which had an annuity of at least £300. To this, Benson shook his head and laughed. There's still a few more months before that happens. We can let Bella find a new job ahead of time. Before that, we'll continue to pay her and provide her with a bedroom. Furthermore, her cooking skills are much better than before, W. So she can apply to be a chef at someone's home. It's a pity. Of course, everything depends on the premise that you can pass the entrance exam at Backland University of Technology. Imagine, by the way, imagine that Benson and Melissa will run into Klein, man. He had wanted to say that if it was a pity that Bella didn't have much time to learn how to cook, but after looking at Melissa's gloomy expression, he forcefully exchanged the topic. Before Melissa could say anything, Benson smiled and touched his hair. I'm planning on resigning tomorrow, and I'll focus on preparing for the exam. Most of the positions are said to be in Backland. That's my goal. I hope we can go there together. Melissa was silent for a moment before she slowly nodded her head. At the same time, she put her fork and knife, wiped her mouth with a napkin, and said, I'm going to the bathroom. Alright, Benson watched his sister leave the dining table, and the smile that had been plastered over his face rapidly vanished. Oh my god, Benson was like this. Took out the silver pocket watch with the wine leaf pattern, took a close look at it, and sighed very quietly. Oh, man, that's it, dude. So, Benson is going to take the tests. I'm so sad, man. Gonna take the tests, get a good score, get a position at Backland, same time Melissa again entered the university. Yeah. I love the Benson is keeping a happy face for Melissa. Yeah, I know, right? Aww. Oh, double the older brother, man. During the whole of Sunday, Klein busied himself with the public libraries in Cherrywood Borough in search of information to Viscount Pound, but the Viscount family didn't have a single biography. Oh my god, what frauds, by the way. What frauds the Pound family is. Nor did it arouse the interest of any historian to conduct a special study. They were scattered across the annals of history, and Klein, who had no search function to use, felt a throbbing pain in his head as he faced the vast collection of books and essays. He spent 6 hours browsing through a lot of information, but he failed to find any useful information. I have to find someone who has a deep knowledge of the history of the nobility. I have to bribe someone in the police department, oh my god, to get the address of Baronet Pound. It's an aristocrat, and the police department must have a corresponding record, and there aren't many aristocrats when Klein got home. There aren't many aristocrats. When Klein got home, he stood in front of the mirror and talked to the air. The surface of the mirror quickly outlined Miss Bodyguard's gothic regal dress and the black bonnet on her head. She nodded slightly as if agreeing with Klein. We still haven't got her name, by the way, but I got spoiled on her name from chat like 2 streams ago. She nodded slightly as if agreeing with Klein. She suddenly spoke out in a dreamy voice. The employment period is over. I know, the 3 days are up, Klein thought for a moment and asked. If I can obtain some clues about the Pound family, would you like to know? Miss Bodyguard didn't answer but gave a slight nod. Interesting. Romaric? Klein asked, after nodding her head again. Miss Bodyguard bent down, lifted up her skirt and bowed. Oh, like a curtsy. Little curtsy, you know? How do you do a curtsy? Like this, like... Can't see that, but whatever. Her figure quickly disappeared in the reflection of the mirror was no longer anything special. Klein looked around and didn't relax. As a result of that, he proceeded systematically to prepare dinner and fill his stomach. He waited until it was late in the night before returning to his bedroom. Tomorrow is Monday, by the way. Tomorrow is Monday. He proceeded systematically to prepare dinner and fill his stomach. He waited until it was late in the night before returning to his bedroom and drew back the curtains. Then he took out the iron cigar case and oh, this is Rosago, and reached out to touch Rosago's all-black eye. Careful! A series of illusory roars immediately rampaged through his mind, seemingly to tear apart his mind and destroy his thoughts. What were you thinking, Klein? With great difficulty, Klein resisted the pain which was making his head explode. Once again, he saw the black thread spreading out from different parts of his body. They were tensely backed and illusory, reaching out endlessly. He quickly released his grip to escape from negative influence. After nearly a minute, everything returned to normal. Phew, I can finally go up to the grey fog and verify the spiritual perception I had before. Oh, interesting, okay. Monday is coming. Monday. Klein silently said to himself as he quickly set up the ritual. Summoned himself and responded to himself. Then, in the spirit form, he carried Asik's copper whistle, picked up the iron cigar case, and returned to the grey fog. Exactly. Klein sat at the seat of honor at the ancient long table, using his fingers to create spiritual flames and burning the blood-stained documents in the corner and any other items that were no longer needed. When he was done, he opened the iron cigar case and was surprised to find that all the black eye had become silent, no longer showing any signs of madness, but that corruptive influence was still settling within. It just wasn't active as if it was in hibernation. Ooh, interesting. So Klein has to cook up here in the grey fog. Somehow separate them. Expected, it's impossible to separate them directly, Klein muttered. Following that, on the other side of the ancient table, a man in hooded robe appeared. Just like his previous... Oh, okay, it's like... Just as a previous attempt to get a clone, this man was stiff and lifeless. It was obvious that he wasn't someone real at glance. There was no way he could deceive the members of Tarot Club. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, 1 second, guys, 1 second. Is it the Lord of Mysteries? No, it was him like trying to like resummon Rosago with his. Wait, I'm confused. Let's keep reading, guys. There's no way he will deceive the members of the Dark Club. However, Klein already had an idea regarding this. I was making a clone, man. I got excited, man. I was like, a mysterious man suddenly showed up. I extended his hand and held the well black eye. There was silence in his ears, and there were no longer any terrifying howls. Using the amassed beyond their characteristics, you could see that there were also back threads folding out from the fake body opposite of him. So I was so excited, man. It's Murphing, right? Damn. Soon after, Klein carefully let his spirituality spread out through the all black eye, touching a few of the illusory threads. All of a sudden, he felt like he was holding onto something. With a thought from him, the fake person raised his hand. Interesting! Very good, by the way, from Klein. Tested that way. It worked. I can use the ability of the marionettist to get a fake Dark Club member. Oh my god, that's crazy. However, this is a training on me. I'm unable to maintain a second one. The symbol of the back of the chair won't change accordingly, but it's not like Miss Justice and the rest can see it. So, it's like pretending that's his blessed, right? Now, I feel like, you know what's gonna happen now? How is Klein gonna keep up this lie, though? Isn't this like a lie that has a lot of maintenance? Klein happily practiced over and over again, even learning how to manipulate his clone's throat and mouth to let him speak. When his spirituality was almost exhausted, he smiled and said to the fake person in front of him, "Welcome, new member. Which tarot card do you wish to draw?" What the fuck? After saying that, he closed his mouth. The fake person opposite of him lifted hand to stroke his chin as he laughed hoarsely. "World! I chose the card, the world! What the fuck's happening?" He made a new clone, a Tarot Club member, because he needs to fool his fellow members, man. The world. Interesting. Is this gonna be? I wonder if this is gonna be like Klein's like alter ego. You know what I mean? Holy shit! Alter count. Hello world. It's gonna be like Klein's gonna be talking to himself. To put up a show between his members, like, who are you? Like, what do you do? And, you know, Klein has to remember all the things about the fake Klein. The world. The fake... The world. A Smurf account. Though... sorry. Leonard. About Leonard? What do you mean you can't find the word Leonard? I put that if Leonard joins the Dark Club, he's gonna choose the world. He did not do that. Holy. So this theory was wrong. Damn, okay. So we're gonna see the world in the gathering in this new chapter. I mean, like I said to Klein, and I think this wholeheartedly as well, that it's hard to maintain this because the lie goes too deep, right? Like, what if you meet in real life? Can he always have a clone of himself with him? His Mirth account? The world? Interesting. Also, you have to have a really big ego to pick the world arcana, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's see. Why would he need to? How would he create a Smurf VRL? Yep. I wonder if it's ever gonna crumble. Guys, I need to pee again. Can you guys go pee as well? Then we can read the new gathering that's happening. Right? The fool is how the grey fog never descends. True. Fool can fool everyone. The fool can fool himself. Be right back. I imagine Triss as a fat man. Oh. Let's read. Me. The fool signified the beginning of the Dark Club, then the world signified the end. Oh, wait. What? Is the Arcana, the world, like symbolism about the end? The fool signified the beginning and Dark Club, the world signified the end. A perfect ending of a cycle and sublimation. Man had named his Smurf the world, calling him a Smurf. Because he hoped that it would lead to a beautiful beginning and end. Because he wants to go back to Earth, that's why. In the future, the Fool is the first card and the world is the last. Ah, you see, that's why. In the future, I'll be able to make the world make requests or do things that won't be convenient for me. Smart. This will greatly reduce the possibility that my image as Mr. Fool will collapse. I feel like this might like backfire somehow. With an alt, no, a Smurf truly is what makes life complete. Klein sighed in relief and waved the world away. That's crazy, dude. Following that, he spread out his spirituality, wrapped himself and stimulated descent into the grey fog and returned to the real world. He had left Rosago all black eye about the grey fog. After all, they couldn't usually use the item anyway, and they had to constantly worry about having it discarded by others or losing it. Exactly. After putting away the summoning ritual materials, Klein looked up towards the crimson moonlight that passed through the curtains, filled with anticipation for the morrow's gathering. When it came to understanding the aristocracy, he believed that Miss Justice will definitely surpass 99% of the people in Loen. And with that Smurf, the world, he could directly ask her about the Pound family without worrying about affecting his image as the Fool. Now, this can backfire a lot though. I can see a number of ways that this can backfire for Klein. Maybe they're gonna find out Klein is a fool in the future somehow. Not the fool, sorry. They're gonna find out he's a fraud. I misspoke. Of course, this had to be done in a more tactful manner. After all, Detective Sherlock Moriarty was also looking for information on the Pound family. And only with enough information will they be able to perform a divination about the grey fog. Interesting. Phew! Klein thought hard for a while before he relaxed and fell asleep. After entering the grey fog, it was though the remnants of the evil spirit's aura completely disappeared. Oh my god! That's like cheating! Klein slept until dawn, but he didn't see the sun because of the thin fog outside. He continued as planned, heading to the rest of the public libraries in Backland, but he no longer required the librarians nor did he mention the Pound family. He only leafed through the materials concerning the nobility by himself. At 20 minutes to 3 in the afternoon, Klein entered the mysterious space of the grey fog ahead of time. Ooh, to prepare. Example of a backfire. As in, like as I said, like they're gonna find out somehow. Like, not the clown, sorry. I don't know why I keep messing up. Klein is gonna have like situation where he messes up. On accident speaks through his words, not the world's words. Whatever, like, the lies are gonna catch up to him and gonna reveal on accident that he's the world, and then they're gonna think he's a fraud or something. I don't know. Maybe at that point they have a lot of respect to the Fool, so they will not care. Maybe, I don't know. Continuing as planned. Yeah, blah blah blah. 20 minutes to 3 in the afternoon, Klein entered the mysterious space of the grey fog ahead of time. Instead of vast and ancient palace, he sat down at the seat belonging to the Fool. He conjured the fake world on the opposite side of the mottled bronze table as he familiarized himself with operating the world. The world, why did you sound so familiar to the Fool? After a few minutes, Klein took out his pocket watch and glanced at it, sending a message to the Crimson Star that symbolized the sun to prepare for the gathering. While he waited, he played with the all-black eye and fitted it with a silver chain. Why did you do that? Then he wound it around his right wrist and covered it with his sleeve. Interesting. At 3 in the afternoon, rays of light. Okay, it's time, guys. It's time. Let's lock in. Rays of light shot down from the palace that resembled a giant's residence. Justice, the Hanged Man, and the sun each projected a blurry silhouette dyed in crimson. Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. After he was about to greet every member of the Guitar Club, and he occasionally fell upon the figure seated at the very end. That's interesting, right? The seating as well, because the fool is seated at the start, the world seated at the end. That's double symbolism at start and end. It was a stranger wearing a hooded black robe. He was also illusory and hazy. This is... Audrey looked at Mr. Fool with both puzzlement and delight. As the Guitar Club grown bigger again, is it Force or Shio? Oh my god, I can't wait, by the way. It's like a controller. Oh, yeah. That's why. Like, oh. What if, like, the eye can't be used anymore or something? Like, the eye goes dry or whatever. You can't use it anymore. You can't have another, you know, meeting. Maybe it doesn't happen like that. The eye is basically a mystical item now. While Audrey was deep in thought, Klein leisurely leaned back and said, "This is a new member, Mr. World." At the same time, through his grey fog-augmented spirit vision, he discovered the surface color of the sun astral projection had become a little bigger, but he had yet to reach the standards of sequence 8. Sun has Bard has fully digested the Bard potion. The initial judgment was that the sun had completely digested the Bard potion. Exactly. Hello! Audrey greeted politely, curiously scrutinizing the new member. She quickly read some of the corresponding details through the hazy fog. Mr. World is a person who is reserved, who seldom moves and always wears a straight face. I wonder where is he from? Loan, Intis, or a place as mysterious as the City of Silver? Audrey nodded thoughtfully. After so many gatherings, he had deduced one thing from the fact that the son couldn't engage in the conversations. That was that he was most likely not speaking the Loan language, and that the information that he heard was most likely translated by Mr. Fool. After the hanged man, Olger, and the son, Derek, greeted the world respectively, to which newcomer gave a rather cold response. Klein looked at Justin and said, "Few candidates you have nominated are still under examination." Oh, she and Force? I want them to join so bad. What's up, Becca? I'll give you a simple task. You can entrust it to them in your name. This is part of the examination. So, the eye is a beyond characteristic of Rosaga, but it was corrupted. So now it can be used as an item, the grey fog, because the grey fog undoes the corruption, or whatever. So it is a mystical item. Sorry, let's read again. The two candidates you nominated are still under examination. Yeah, she on Force. I'll give a simple task. You can entrust it to them in your name. This is part of the examination. It should be strict. Not only was Audrey not disappointed, she even felt that it was only necessary. The members of their club must be strictly selected. Not just anyone can become one. She thought proudly before adding in a somewhat guilty tone, and for me to be pulled in by Mr. Fool at the very beginning shows that I was lucky, and luck is a unique quality as well. True. Alright, please issue the mission. Audrey gave an affirmative answer. Van stretched out his right hand and placed it on the table, showing a picture of Lanebus. Yes! Time for revenge. Oh, conservation and indestructibility. Ah, okay, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what you mean. Okay, yeah, true. Time for revenge. Investigate the man in the painting. He's in background. Klein had the portrait appear in front of Miss Justice. Audrey looked over and saw a young man with a neatly combed black hair and round glasses. He had a full forehead. Damn, bro. The colored of oil painting with taunting brown eyes that seemed abnormally protruded, and the bottom were the words formerly known alias Lanebus and other information. The simple mission, which means that the target isn't strong. However, there must be something special about him that makes Mr. Fool aware of his existence. Although it's a simple mission, there might be a deeper purpose behind it. For someone as powerful as him, it shouldn't just be a test. Audrey momentarily allowed her to thong her mind. Only after a few seconds did she say, "I'll entrust it to them." Okay, good luck, Force, and good luck, Shio. This depends on them. We need to kill Lanebus, we need to execute him. We have to have a public execution for him. The two ladies seem to have many connections in background which will serve to help in finding Lonevus. After confirming the matters pertaining to his revenge, Klein fell silent and they deliberately allowed his mirth to take center stage. The world is gonna make the world like super ego. Think of like Leonard, I guess. It's gonna make the world like Leonard. The two ladies seem to have many connections in background which the world surveyed the area and spoke with a hoarse voice. Mr. Fool told me that I can issue missions and gather ingredients here. Is that so? Yes, Audrey elegantly nodded and said, however, you need to wait patiently. That's going to happen next is Mr. Fool's reading time. Oh, oh, diary pages! Let's fucking go. Is this a hoarse voice? I'm not voice acting everything, bro, but what does hoarse mean, though? Hoarse voice. Oh. Mr. Fool told me that I can issue missions and gather ingredients here. Is that so? Yes, Audrey explainingly nodded and said, however, you need to wait patiently. What's going to happen next is Mr. Fool's reading time. More pages. I'm so excited. I completed my mission to assassinate Intis Ambassador Bakerland, but I didn't ever mention it to occupy this period of time, she thought, raising her chin slightly. Miss Justice, really have a great sense of mastership. I'll have to pay the price of knowledge later so that the assassination of Bakerland can truly come to an end. Klein looked away, amused, and looked over at the hanged man. Holger didn't speak blindly because of the appearance of a new member. He remained silent and observed in the secret. At this moment, when he saw Mr. Fool looking at him, he quickly and humbly bowed and said, this time there are still 6 pages. The final page will be given to you next time. I'm so excited. Sure, Klein nodded. The hanged man quickly focused his mind, recalled the contents, and expressed them with his mind. Quickly finished writing 6 pages in the diary and saw them suddenly vanish and appear in Klein's hands. Okay, let's go. I'm so excited. Let's fucking go. Klein looked down and swept through the contents of the first page. 9th of February. I have a 3rd child. I named him Bornova. Isn't Bornova... It was mentioned before, but wasn't he the ancestor of one of the pirate kings? Or am I bugging? My eldest daughter, Bernadette was lucky. Her mother and I were just low sequence beyonders back then. She's free to choose the path she wants to take. My eldest son, Ciel, is the most unfortunate. He entered a minute amount of beyonder characteristic, but he also has to follow my path. Perhaps he could make changes at sequence 4, but attaining high sequences are never easy. My second son, Bornova, is in better situation than Ciel, but still worse than his sister. I have his characteristics equivalent to a sequence 5 beyonder. This has reduced the burden on me, allowing me to digest my potion even faster, accelerating my advancement. And when he was just born, he was already showing various traits of an astromancer. Okay, astromancer. Let's see what I think it was like sequence 6. Oh, sorry, leaked. Oh, sequence 5. Astromancer, astronomer. Yeah. Imagine being born a sequence 5. I know, right? Oh, I'm thinking of Nast, not Boronova. You're right, Phantom. Nast. Sovingi. Okay, Boronova and CL. Bernadette as well. Let me just copy this quickly. Saratul came to congratulate me in a secret and praised Bornova as a lovely angel. I asked his master of divination what he could accomplish in the future. He only smiled and didn't answer me. Oh, that's the worst answer, by the way. Imagine just smiling at him. When I asked him about Ciel's future, he finally said that his death is an inevitable ending, but that might be a good thing? Seriously, a serious words are always so vague. It makes one want to pry their mouths open. Also, Saratul is always so close to Roselle, always wanting something, right? It's literally like, you know, break, bro. Using Roselle. Bornova. What did I say? Did I say porn? When asked about Celia, When I finally asked about Bernadette's future, she suddenly became very serious. She said she would hate me, detest me, turn her back on me, and she will become an important figure in the mysterious world. Mysterious world? What do you mean by that? Interesting. Pulling the strings, yeah. Saratul is kinda controlling Roselle. Like, Roselle, are you a fraud? Are you letting yourself to be controlled by some old seer guy? Sometimes you really shouldn't ask about the results of divination. I find it hard to believe that my adorable and kind Bernadette, who cares for her brother, adores her father, and pampers her mother, will hate me and betray me. Why would that happen? What excessive act did I do? Maybe she'll have someone she loves, but I'm not satisfied with it. With some punk that I'll end up killing. Interesting. I just want to say, by the way, that one of his like notes, he also called his kids, retarded, right? My kids are stupid. Remember that? Nosaratul isn't some soothsayer, and the divination he receives might be wrong. Forget it, Roselle. Did Bro just speak to himself in third person? I think I smell the scent of some unconceived family melodrama. After reading the first page of the diary, Klein couldn't help but lampoon silently. Lampooning. At the same time, he naturally recalled what Saratul had told him about the future of Bernadette, an important figure in the mysterious world. Is that us? No, because Bernadette will be dead by now, right? I'm guessing maybe the mysterious world refers to like the world of high sequence beyonders, maybe. But why would you say mysterious world to like when Saratul was talking to Roselle though? Because at this point Roselle was already like sequence 4 or 5, right? At the same time, he naturally called when that what Saratul had told him about the future of Bernadette, an important figure in the mysterious world. Was this referring to the world of Beyonders? What level would someone be deemed an important figure? Fine, turn the pages thoughtfully. I like sequence 4 or 3 maybe. 22nd of May, okay, we're skipping. But why doesn't Bro write down years, by the way? Why doesn't Roselle write down... Because you know what I want to do? I wanted to like, at the first stream, when I first time we got Roselle diary, I wanted to make notes and put his notes in chronological order, right? Every time we get a new note. But the problem is, Bro does not write down the year. Probably does on like a, beginning of a year or something, but it would have been so cool. 22nd May. Floren of the Soren family actually wants me to be support in it. Interesting, okay. So let me copy this and let me also put Bernadette being like a important figure. Do I look like someone who would be a lackey? That is simply unacceptable. I swear that one day I'll make him pay the price of his arrogance. Isn't the Soren family the ruling family of Intis Republic that Roselle just took over? Maybe this is the the straw that broke camel's back, However, some of the things he mentioned are very interesting and worth pondering over. That's it! That was so fast! 5-minute chapter! It automatic ordering chronologically, yeah, but imagine if he like made an assist for me, man. Next chapter right now. Okay, so let's talk about this. Well, like, let's read all the 6, then let's discuss the entire, 6 pages we got this meeting, right? Floren said that the history of Soren family exceeds 2,000 years, making it longer than even the Church of the God of Craftsmanship. History, they witnessed all the cooperation and strife, light and darkness in the 4th epoch, and they have survived until this very day, other than the Augustus family of Loen, the Einhor family of Feisa. Augustus is the royal family of Loen, right? The Einhorn family of Feisak and the Castilla family of Feinabotter. Other powerful families that have been deemed their equal, such as the Antigunus family and the Sarato family, have been relegated as vestiges of history, because the EVERNIGHT goddess just one-shot them. or have turned to nothing but rats in the sewers, hiding from the public as shitty existences. Oh, I love that, man. First, like, cool thing he said. Calling other like families that have fallen off are rats. I love that. He said that making me a subordinate of the ancient and glorious Soren family is gift to me. Back then, I wanted to fuck all 8 generations of his ancestors. Okay, little bro. However, for the Soren family to have a history exceeding 2,000 years is in the fourth epoch is known as the epoch of the gods. Be it 7 orthodox deities of the present times, or death, primordial demoness, dark side of the universe. Oh, dark side of the universe is so cold. And the true creator, they all remained active in the real world. That they frequently did miracles to the Soren family to last to this day and enjoy his current high standing is definitely not an easy matter. I'm guessing that EVERNIGHT goddess like teamed up with the Soren family, and that's why they were like collaborators with her, and that's why they were spared, right? Their long history has given them far more. For the Soren family to last to this day and enjoy its current high standing, it's definitely not an easy matter. Their long history has given them far more than just arrogance. They must be hiding many secrets and perhaps even extremely terrifying sealed artifacts. You're truly a colossus that stands tall above the earth, one that people can't look straight at. So this is before Roselle took power and overthrew the Soren family. I wonder if he accepted to like collaborate with Soren family and then like backstab them, like. They are a truly colossus that stands above the earth, one that people can't look straight at. Upon reading this, Klein had a lot of ideas. For Roselle to be able to overthrow the rule of the Soren family, he must have experienced a horrifying and heart-stirring struggle. Even if the Soren family didn't have a grade 0 sealed artifact, they definitely had no lack of grade 1 sealed artifacts. Also, Roselle, I'm guessing like Roselle got help from Zarathul and some other high level beyonders, but the Soren family was the government. So I'm guessing maybe the military and the fighters and the military was on Roselle's side, right? In this like battle, guessing. Also like the video, guys. Thank you. For Roselle to be able to throw the rule of the Soren family, must have experienced a horrifying and heart-stirring struggle. Even if Soren family didn't have any grade 0 sealed artifacts, definitely had no lack of grade 1 sealed artifacts. Adding to the possibility of having high sequence beyonders, even the Church of the God and Sea machinery fully supported Roselle. It's unlikely that any good outcome might come out of it. Could it be that before all that happened, the Soren family was already becoming vain and weakened? Oh, that actually makes a good. It's good deduction, Klein, because you know why will they ask help of you? I feel like they need like stronger people, so they came to Roselle to ask for help, and that also signifies that they were falling off. And the Indus Revolution was just an external manifestation of this state. What did they experience during that period of time? Did they lose sealed artifacts? Did the high sequence beyonders die? Did that attract the attention of many ambitious people? I feel like a lot of like people switched over to Roselle's side, right? I feel like the Soren family was not liked because, you know, if it kinda like this is like influence, or this Soren family is influenced by the French royal family back in the 1700s. And like Roselle's revolution is influenced by the French Revolution. That would make sense that people were against the nobles to the Sauron family. I meant influenced like Cuttlefish's writing. Thank you, Enner. What did they experience during that period of time? They lose sealed artifacts. The high sequence planners died. Did that attract the attention of many ambitious people? Judging from the style, the Augustus family of Loen is no stranger to Anticonus and Zarathul families. Internally, they should have corresponding records. The Sun had previously mentioned that the City of Silver has entered more than 2500 years in Dark Ages. According to my initial judgment, that's the date of the Cataclysm. Exactly. The Cataclysm put City of Silver into Dark Ages. In the past 200 years, the Sauron family claimed to have a history spanning over than 2000 years. I wonder if it will extend to the point before City of Silver. I'll try to find an opportunity to mention the Sonon clan and see the sun's reaction. Oh my god, so smart. If the sun still has a look of stupefaction, it will indirectly mean that the Sonon family only rose up after the cataclysm. Perhaps they had benefited greatly from the cataclysm to become nobles in the 4th epoch and royalty in the 5th epoch. I see. I guess so. I'm guessing the reason why they become royalty was because they were helping the EVERNIGHT goddess like kill the other gods and families. Then like, oh, there was a power vacuum in Intis, they become royals, right? That's what I think. Well, even if the son doesn't know, it doesn't prove it completely. Perhaps he didn't learn his history well. When Klein turned to the 3rd page, he found that the content should have been written in the early days of Rosel's appointment as consul of the Intis Republic. Okay. Diary entry on this page. Okay. It can be seen that Rosel had developed and promulgated a new civil code, which encouraged inventions, protected trade, and the incubation of the Industrial Revolution. It wasn't him merely satisfying his own warped humor, acting as his world Napoleon. I know, right? I called him Napoleon as well. And his ambition to change the world, what he did allow him to reconcile with the search of the Eternal Blazing Sun. Ah! The Eternal Blazing Sun was also the god of deeds, the guardian of business. The closer to the times the civil god was, and the more prosperous trade was made, the more in line with the needs of the church. Judging from this part of the diary, the relationship between Rosel and the church of the Eternal Blazing Sun was gradually thawing and beginning to improve. Ah, okay. When he brazenly claimed the title of emperor more than 10 years later, called himself Caesar, it's likely that he obtained the simultaneous endorsement of the two churches. Yeah. Otherwise, he would not have been too risky. Then what resulted in his assassination. Fine case, cast his gaze at the 4th page in puzzlement. 11th August, that retard. God, dude. So I'm guessing assassination because they weren't happy with. But there's like a rumor among like civilians that Rosel is still alive and the assassination was a cover-up. Now all rumors and all legends have some kind of like basis and truth to them. So I wonder if this like topic is gonna come to light in the future and maybe find out that Rosel isn't dead. One of my theories from Volume 1 over this as well is that Rosel is alive and became the god of steam and machinery. So he reached like sequence 1 savant. Maybe he killed or took over from the god of craftsmen and kinship? No, craftsmen and something, right? That's also like, oh, then they like faked his assassination, make seem like he died because it was like overnight he died. You know what I mean? Make it more like believable, like otherwise like, oh, he didn't die of old age, he didn't die of disease, he died of assassination, and that's like perfect cover-up story for people to like eat it up, you know. That retard Florin is showing off again. He said that he's the most promising member of the Soren family generation to become a high sequence beyonder because he's very similar to his great-great-grandfather. Is there any necessary connection? I looked him up and down, left and right, but I couldn't find any sign of talent. Oh my god, that's savage. Moreover, in the field of beyonders, is talent important? Figuring out the essence to acting can be more elegant of talent. But that's not necessary, as long as one knows the acting method and not be stupid enough to misunderstand the meaning or avoid doing things that easily result in loss of control, then one has a chance to completely digest the potions, which is to say, just a bit more time and effort needs to be spent. In one's lifetime, it's not impossible to become a high sequence beyonder, yeah. And I feel like the higher sequence you become, your lifespan gets bigger. It's like cultivation a little bit, you know? The main obstacle is to becoming a high sequence beyonder is the difficulty of obtaining beyonder ingredients. So yeah, if you're like born from, if you're born into richness like Audrey and privilege, right? It's easier for you to get these ingredients as well. And the difficulty of corresponding rituals, of course, I have to admit that those born as beyonders have more time to prepare. Exactly. Was Florence great-great-grandfather high sequence beyonder? Does looking like him imply talent? It can be seen at the time of writing this diary entry, Rosel was still very young and that he wasn't aware of two laws of beyond their characteristics, indestructibility and conservation, another indiscriminably. With his current knowledge, he could probably understand the hidden meaning behind Florence Soren's words. I see high sequence beyond their characteristics remains contained a spirit mark. This was also one of the reasons why it was easy for people to lose control when concocting potions with this ingredient, and people who resembled the original owner would avoid this negative influence to the greatest extent. Their chances of success were higher than the average person, so they were considered gifted. Who holy artifacts recognized their masters probably shared the same conditions. Interesting, yeah. With a little bit of cultivation. Okay, Rear. You're just delusional, you know? Always, like anything you do when you're born privileged to a filthy family, or born to a beyonder, you always have an edge, right? But a little bit of cultivation, a lot of cultivation. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay. Don't tell that to Nightwalker, by the way. The Archives the name call via different approaches as the acting method, but it can't be popularized. Once that one's been successful, one will have to do acting method required to the potion to completely digest its characteristics. While in deep thought, Klein glanced at the two diary entries at the back of the page and discovered how much Emperor Cell enjoyed the liberalness in Intis, but he was worried that his future wife will be equally liberal. That's such a hypocritical thinking, bro. Like, you love liberalism because you can fuck bitches, and then you were worried that your wife is gonna be liberal. Like, what the fuck? With the paper making some noise, Klein placed the 5th page at the top. 20th of April, I participated in an ancient organization's secret gathering once again. Those members still leave me shaking. It's hard to believe that they're actually all members of this organization. Still new? This time I learned some of the ancient organization's philosophy. They believe that people will always lose some of their individuality bit by bit until they sleep. Hence by trying hard to observe, remember oneself, one can use the various types of information to achieve the purification needed to face the final end days. Like, as in, like, final end of days as in, like, old age or something. I guess quote unquote sleep here is die. Okay, interesting. Maybe it doesn't though. Why is it in quotes? Until they sleep. Okay. They kept and passed down secret of thousands or even tens of thousands of years. They believe the dusk is inevitable and that doomsday cannot be avoided. What doomsday? Interesting. Interesting. They believe in the original creator and believe that he is not truly dead. When dusk comes and everything ends, he will wake up from his slumber and let everything return to him. He will create a new world, a new history. Interesting. What is it like? Does it mean like return to him, like everything's gonna be sucked up back to him? And everyone will die, and then life begins all over again or something? Is this like organization that's like has some merit to it? Like, does it have a basis, or is it just like them being delusional and worship the original creator? I feel like this seems right. Is there gonna be like another cataclysm, but from the original creator? What is the ancient organization called, by the way? He takes everything by force. I mean, if the original creator like created it, you know what I mean, and went to sleep, he can just as easily like take it back. All of the actions from this organization stem from this belief. It can be said that they show great animosity to the creator. They aren't... Wait, what? It was original creator. I thought it was original creator. Yeah. Okay, so okay. Let's read from here. They believe in the original creator and they believe that he is not truly dead. And dusk comes and everything ends, he will wake up from his slumber and let everything return to him. He will create a new world, a new history. All of the actions from this organization stem from this belief. It can be said that they show great anonymity to the true creator. They aren't stingy with their descriptions to describe him as a fallen and evil. They revealed the second blasphemy slate and the 22 paths of the divine, but they only allow members to choose a few of them, with the exception of those who were already pioneers when they joined. They have, wait. That doesn't mean they have like potions to every single pathway, right? They have the blasphemy slate. Other secrets in any of those pathways? I'll first jot it down and analyze in the future. These pathways are Bard, Sailor, Reader, and Spectator. Interesting. 3 out of 4 in the Tarot Club, by the way. 3 out of 4 in the Tarot Club. Okay, so it has 4. They have the formulas. Second blasphemy state location leaked. I mean, was it really leaked? Because he was participating in our ancient organization, Secret Gathering. I guess he participated in Intis Republic. Or at this point it was Intis Kingdom or whatever. So the second blasphemy slate is there unless it was moved. But the it didn't say like the specific like location though. Yeah, different beings becoming confusing. Origin creator is OC, yeah, exactly. They have Bard, Sailor, Reader, and Spectator. Okay, I have to change my habits of calling these sequences pathways in the future. Using those names in the ancient organization makes me appear quite uneducated. Oh yeah, because you use the real name for the pathway, as in, for example, you don't say corpse collector, you say death pathway, right? It's very similar to what I've analyzed from my hostile relations from Mr. A's request. With it being very similar to how the Bard, Sailor, Reader, and Secret Supply pathways can be exchanged at sequence 4. Oh. Sorry, where am I? Okay, here. Okay, so Bard, Sailor, Reader, and Secret Suppliant are interchangeable. Oh, sorry. Scribe is interchangeable with Secret Suppliant. Scribe is on the Lawyer or Reader pathway. So Scribe is on the Reader pathway, I guess. I'm guessing. Mr. A. Is manipulator a high sequence of the Spectre pathway? Why do many organizations declare that the apocalypse will definitely befall us one day? Because they might be right. For example, the Demoness sect, the ancient organization, and they themselves do not rely on this to proselytize. It is a requirement for a brainwashing, or will there really be a so-called quote-unquote task? Ryan fought for many things, but due to lack of information, he was unable to come to a definite answer. So these 4 pathways, by the way, have something in common. That's why they're interchangeable, right? Like I wrote down that Scribe is interchangeable with Secret Suppliant, because Scribe was mentioned, but Scribe wasn't mentioned what pathway it was on, right? I'm now, you know, going towards the Reader pathway though. Is manipulator a high sequence of the Spectre pathway? Why do many secret organizations declare that the apocalypse... Yeah, read this. At the same time, we couldn't help but silently lampoon. Rosella can't just write down the name of that organization. I know, right? Resisting the changes at his expression and body movements, Klein turned to the last page, which had relatively little content and read. So yeah, manipulator is on the Spectre path. They are written down on the theories as well, right? Anyway, let's keep going. Suggesting the changes in the expression and body movements, Klein turned to the last page which had relatively little content and read. 1st of January, at beginning of a new year, I happened to finish my first card of blasphemy. I will hide the ultimate secret of the 22 paths of divine in these different cards of blasphemy and scatter them across the world. If things fail, they'll be the best insurance that my children can fall back onto. Interesting. I'll disturb the order they wish to have and spread the profound mysteries of the divine. Bro is thinking, by the way, like, oh, I'm so mischievous. These cards of blasphemy will possess characteristics of being anti-divination and anti-prophecy. Apart from the ones I'm giving my children, the fated ones will receive it. Oh, up to no good. Tomfoolery. I'm a person who makes sure to square accounts when it comes to grudges, and after I die, who cares if floods deluge the heavens? Oh, I didn't create that sentence. In short, the more chaotic the world is, the better it is. Wow, guy fucked us over, man. Bro had first original thought in his life. I'm so naughty. Yeah, exactly. He had the first original thought of all time, by the way. Bro had 0 original thoughts before this. Interesting, it's like to fuck over future beyonders, right? That's crazy. Fraud. Fraud. I have to consider how the name of the cards of blasphemy that will form a set. The bats of the divine number 22. The miniature Arcana tarot cards also have 22 cards. They match quite well, but there are a few don't meet the requirements. I need to make some changes and match the original potion names. Wow. What a fucking guy, dude. That ancient notation is my last and biggest insurance. I don't know if they'll support me of the manner in which they'll support me in. I still remember the shock when I first saw the blasphemy slate. But it turns out that the Beyonder pathways are paths of divine. It really is true that the blasphemy slate is blaspheming the deities. That's... Fuck out organizations. Yeah. True. That's a better way of saying it. So it turns out the Beyonder pathways are paths of the divine. It really is true that the blasphemy slate is blaspheming the deities. Above every pathway sequence one, there's a above every pathway sequence 1, there's still sequence 0? Wait, hold up a second here. Then there's a corresponding posture and ritual? Each pathway can only have one sequence 0. And sequence 0 is the sequence of a true god. For example, sequence 0 sun. A sequence 0? What the fuck? Wait, where's my notes? That's insane. They put in a dub anime intro? See, the artifacts have grade 0? Yeah, but see, the artifacts also have grade 1, 2, and 3. They don't have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Sequence 0. So, wait, sequence 0 of... Where is it, bro? Where is it? Snake of Mercury, sequence 0. No. Sequence 0 is monster. That's why Snake of Mercury, sequence 1. No, sequence 1 is monster. What am I saying, bro? What am I saying? Anyway, my brain is all over the place. Anyway, let's like talk about this first. I have written down. Where is it? Sequence 1 of Seer is Lord of Mysteries or Fool. Now that we know that sequence 2 is, what's it called, Miracle Invoker, it's written down here. That sequence 2 is Miracle Invoker. I would say that sequence 1 of Seer is the Fool, and sequence 0 is Lord of Mysteries. That's my new guess. That's my new guess. Sorry. Because previously I thought about it, right? I thought, oh, if sequence 2 is Miracle Invoker, there's no way that sequence 3 or sequence 1 is like the rest of the two, right? Because sequence 3 is a Bar Miracle Invoker, and I feel like the Fool and Lord of Mystery is more likely to be like under it, right? In sequence 1. But now it's possible, right? Holy. And I'm pretty sure that the person who created the Grey Fog and transmigrated Klein is sequence 0, Lord of Mysteries. That's what I think. Let me cook here. And I think Saratul was fighting with, Lord of Mysteries, and they lost, maybe. And that's why after Roselle died, supposedly died, Klein was pulled in. But then again, why didn't why that wasn't the person? I mean, we don't even know if Roselle had the Grey Fog, because he hasn't mentioned it in his notes, and he would mention it in his notes because he thought nobody can ever read it, right? But it has been a lot of chapters now from his diary, and he still hasn't mentioned it, so I'm losing hope. So maybe transmigration of Klein and the Grey Fog are two different things. I always thought these two things are like related. I mean, they still might be together. I think they might be together, but the Roselle situation of him being a transmigrator is like messing up my theories a little bit, because then wouldn't it mean again that he would have the Grey Fog? Maybe the person who created the Grey Fog is not the Lord of Mysteries, as in sequence 1 or 0, of Seer. Maybe he's some other true god. Then again, I always said maybe before Roselle there was another transmigrator. It's like a cycle of transmigrators, right? Another theory I have is that the previous transmigrator transmigrates the new person. So but then again, I have been going away from that theory because I don't think that's true anymore. It will also mean that there will be transmigrators before Roselle, but we never have any heard some great figures in history books that Klein will suspect that are transmigrators, because he might be transmigrators from different eras, right? But Klein doesn't know about them, because Klein quickly figured out Roselle was a transmigrator because of his inventions and stuff. If Roselle never picked the Savant pathway, maybe there will never be inventions by him. He plagiarizes everything, right? God. Yeah, I'm not cooking. I'm going in circles, I feel like. Anyway, that's sequence 0 exists, man. I mean, yes, there are great zero sealed artifacts, but I always thought, there's also grade 1, 2, and 3, and there is no 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't mean that there's a sequence 0 on the pathway, right? So that means there only can be one true god, one sequence 0. Does that mean if you wanna become a true god, you need to beat that god as a sequence 1? Then you probably need a big ass army. I don't know if sequence 1 can take a sequence 0. Are gods immortal? I wonder if true gods are immortal. Because there only can be one true god, and some pathways don't have a true god yet. Because we know that other gods killed death. So that means that death was sequence 0 on the death pathway, and that slot is right now open. And if Asik gets to a higher sequence and reaches sequence 0, then Asik can become the god of death and doesn't need to beat any other previous true god because that position is open. Right? Same with like, if there is no sequence 0 seer, line can just roll over and become sequence 0 seer and become true god, unless Zaratul reached that point like few hundred years ago and he needs to beat Zaratul or someone before Zaratul, that Zaratul like lost you, or I don't know. Okay, let's keep reading, guys. Sequence 0's son. Apparently, by the way, apparently, this was spoiled in the dub, the donghua. Why? Why? Anyway, the World's Commission. Holy shit, dude. 266. Sequence 0, there's still a sequence 0 above sequence 1. Sequence 0 is equivalent to a true god. There only can be one sequence 0 pathway per pathway. Is it the true meaning of the path to divine? Yeah, that's, by the way, I figured it out as well, but I said I never knew there was sequence 1, right? I knew that the pathways were a path to divine because literally in the donghua opening it says that, first of all, and it was quite obvious from the beginning that EVERNIGHT goddess and stuff are like the highest sequence of their own pathway. As long as one consumes the corresponding potion, does a ritual, and grasps the acting method to digest the bionic characteristics, an ordinary person can become a god one step at a time. I know, right? This is truly blasphemous. Will the main ingredients for the final potion be the godhood, divine blood, and body of the eternal blazing sun? Oh my god, imagine. The information on the entire last page was filled with so much information that Klein almost couldn't think. He almost made additional body movements. The 22 bats of the divine corresponds to the 22 sequence zeros. Sequence 0 sun does sound very powerful. Perhaps a sequence 0 death? Sequence 0 death is sequence... yeah, exactly, yeah. I wonder what the names corresponding to the goddess and the lord of the storms are. According to Emperor Cell's description, some of these cards are identical to the Major Arcana tarot cards, but some of them... Oh my god, so the Fool. Maybe sequence 0 is Fool then. Some of them are different. The cards of blasphemy created were standardized with the names of the potions. They can no longer be called potions, with the reason that the Emperor regretted not choosing the Seer Apprentice Marauder pathways because their corresponding sequence zeros have yet to appear. Oh, good theory, my guy! Good fucking theory! No, I think sequence 0 Apprentice is Mr. Door. But where is it? I wrote that down as well. Yeah, Mr. Door, sequence 1 of Apprentice is murmuring to Force. I guess maybe sequence 0 then? A Marauder battle because the corresponding sequence 0 has yet to appear. Then what was the reason? A lot of time has passed. True. You're right. Then what was the reason for the hidden personification of the hidden sage who was symboling a deity? And what was Roselle plotting in the end? It feels like he became an enemy of everyone in the world, and that only seems possible if it was set into motion by that mysterious and ancient organization. The Primordial Demoness is the name of sequence 0 of the Demoness pathway. I think so. I said that also in the donghua as well, right? Klein gradually found this train of thought and he restrained the turmoil that was going through his mind. But I said sequence 1, of course. He knew that he just couldn't lose himself in this matter. He had to recover as quickly as possible, otherwise Justice and Hanged Man will discover something amiss and find it odd. Mr. Fool has been reading that page too long. I really want to obtain one of the cards of blasphemy that Emperor Cell created. I want to know what else is there other than the godhood providing potion formulas and the corresponding rituals. Klein suppressed his shock and puzzlement and made Rosell's diary disappear from his hands. He wrapped the corner of the bronze table and looked to the side. Miss Justice, well done. You finished Bakerland in less than a week. According to the agreement, what kind of payment do you want? Bakerland is dead that fast. Olga had left the islands in the past few days and had received appropriate information. He was astonished for a moment, which made Audrey, who was secretly observing him, feel delighted. Even if Olga was in the city of the capital or the Rorstead archipelago, city of generosity, Bayam might not have been informed in a timely fashion. After all, cable telegraph would only transmit limited information. Unless it was particularly urgent or important, there was always a delay for a few days. Sometimes it would even take the colonists of the Rorstead archipelago a month or two to get an update on the latest situation on the northern continent. Interesting. I'm so overwhelmed, man. My brain is trembling. My brain is trembling. Restraining his thoughts, the man looked at Mr. Fool in the thick fog and respectfully said with a hint of humility, I'm very sorry, I just managed to contact someone and couldn't help. This is a commission, not a help request. Don't worry about it. Klein chuckled. He turned his gaze back to Miss Justice, waiting for her to say what she wanted in return. May the goddess bless me. Please don't let Miss Justice's request be too difficult. It's best if I can repay her with knowledge. I learned quite a lot of amazing things from Rosell's diary. Klein silently prayed to the goddess. Of course, he was very clear that the grey fog separating them, the EVERNIGHT goddess definitely won't be able to hear his prayers. Audrey's eyes started around and she thought for a few seconds. Are you 14 years old, Kilby? That's crazy. Be honest and not greedy, Audrey, and stick to your principles. She gave a faint smile and said, no, I'm actually the one owning you. No, I owe your blessed bounty. Vice Admiral Chilango's bounty was worth a total of 30,000 pounds. I should give you a blessed 15,000. Oh my god. Killing Bakerland cost 10,000, so I need to pay additional 5,000 pounds. However, the matter with Bakerland, my finances are recently quite tight. I can only pay this bounty in a few months. Mr. Fool, is it alright? After she finished speaking, Audrey quietly exhaled. She felt that that little stone pressing against her head was finally gone. All because she got like you know, got it off her chest, I guess. Although discussing money and calculating the payment in front of Mr. Fool feels somewhat inappropriate, I can't hide the rewards I received from his blessed. Audrey sighed silently. As for the huge plantation worth more than 8,000 pounds, a private form of gratitude from Duke Negan, another bounty. Fuck Duke Negan, by the way. 5k pounds, again another 5,000 pounds. Chilango's total bounty actually reached 30,000 pounds. Klein was startled. How much is that in Tolarinos, by the way? $5.5 million. Holy. Klein was startled. Immediately fell into intense mental struggle. I'm supposed to pay this bounty to Mr. Isaac, but I won't be able to get in touch with him for a quite long time. Putting the money aside will be a waste. I might as well use this money to enhance myself when the time comes. I'll repay him by providing help. Klein made up his mind 3 seconds later as he slightly nodded at Miss Justice. Sure. Upon hearing Mr. Fool's response, Audrey graceful sitting posture remained the same, but her heart was completely relaxed. That moment, Klein leaned back his chair and fell silent. Then he manipulated his Smurf secretly, for a commandeering position. The world, quote unquote, the world, said, "Can I speak now?" Audrey looked at Mr. Fool and seeing that he didn't say a thing, she nodded slightly and said, "Sure." At the same time, she once again did a read on the new member, the world, and made a judgment. When I mentioned that the assassination of Professor Bacon was a result of my commissioning, he didn't show any shock or surprise. He either doesn't know the importance of the matter, not understanding the importance of an ambassador, or he's someone who can keep his calm and is good at hiding his emotions and bold daily movements. The way he mouths his words doesn't match what he says. It should be translated by Mr. Fool as well, which makes it impossible for me to get his original vocal tics or know what language he usually uses. Thoughts flashed through Audrey's mind before Mr. World's hoarse voice sounded. I wonder if What was his name? Sorry. I want to know I'm blanking because my brain is trembling from the sequence 0 info. If Audrey reaches a higher sequence in the spectral pathway, maybe he's able to tell that the world is like a puppet and controlled by Klein. Mr. Wall's hoarse voice sounded. I wish to obtain the true root of mystery and at least 60 mils of its juice, as well as the spring of the elves' marrow crystals and the complete spinal fluid of Dark Panther and Black Panther. Oh, this is like the formula for sequence 7 magician, right? Which one when you're gonna provide any relevant clues? What do you wish to exchange them for? Can I add the beyonder ingredient needed by the apothecary to his commission so that the Arrow Club members won't be able to guess the main ingredients of the formula he wanted. Smart. Before Justice and the Hanged Man could react, the son, who had been silent for a long time, finally opened his mouth and said, I know where mystery ants are, and I can help you obtain the materials. However, I must wait until I finish my advancement and have sufficient strength to join the corresponding patrol team. Recently, he had been accumulating merit points and rewards. He was working hard to obtain the main ingredients for the light supply, and through the City of Silver officials and private markets, he was still lacking quite a bit. Oh, good question, Tiger. I think it's the personality. Exactly, for myself, true. Has to make another anonymous bank account, otherwise the money that's gonna be sent to him is the same anonymous bank account that Klein has. As expected, the dangerous City of Silver with the numerous monsters, Klein silently commented in admiration, allowing the world to ask, then, what do you wish to receive in exchange? Without hesitation, Derek replied, a weapon that suits me and can increase my combat strength. The reason why I didn't mention the corresponding ingredients for light supply was because City of Silver had them all. They could be obtained through his own artwork. I see. Upon hearing this request, Klein immediately thought of the inscribed steel sword that had appeared at the Beyonder gathering organized by the elderly gentleman, Eye of Wisdom. Oh yeah, true. It was sharp enough, had the effect of exorcism and purification, and could be used for 3 years. Valued for 500 pounds, perfectly matching the son's described requirements. Why didn't you say so earlier? It has already been bought by someone else. Oh, Kansan stared at the members while the world nodded and said, I will find a weapon that meets your requirements as soon as possible. Is this transaction done to be witnessed by Mr. Fool? Klein nodded slightly to express his agreement. Damn, bro. At that moment, Audrey shot a glance at the son and warned him. Apart from the mystery and juice, Mr. World requested ingredients correspond to sequence 7. The rough price is about 500-700 pounds. Interesting how immediately clocked that it's sequence 7 potion, by the way. Wow, good spectator skills. What's up, Gin? She felt the son was too naive and was worried that he would be cheated by the unreadable Mr. Fool with Mr. World with cheap weapons. Yeah, true. Although Mr. Fool is impartial and advocates for fair equal exchange, it's not his place to stop it if both sides agree. Don't get scammed, Derek. After all, some items are low value, but there are people who are in urgent need, so adding a premium to the price is very normal. Audrey thought to herself, a sequence 7 formula is about 800 pounds, Olger added. He had an instinctive aversion towards new members. Yeah, true. Klein answered with great difficulty, for he didn't know what the currency unit of the pound. True, that's gonna be hard. To the corresponding to City of Silver, and could use a Series 9 potion formula as a unit. I understand, Derek slightly nodded, and then quickly added, thank you. The world maintained his silent and staid temperament and didn't comment on what had just happened. He turned to Justice and the Hanged Man, waiting for the response. Audrey thought for a few seconds and said, potion formula for psychiatrists and their corresponding beyond ingredients. That's sequence 7 of the spectator pathway. We can gather the information first, and there's no rush to purchase them. Once I have clues regarding Dark Pattern, Black Panther, and Spring of the Elves Marrow Crystals, we can proceed. If you're willing to exchange it for cold pounds, you can buy it at any time. Although I'm out of money recently, I can still raise quite a bit if it's urgent. Audrey comforted herself. Olga said in deep voice, potion formula of Sailor Pathway, sequence 6, Wind Blessed. This will be more expensive than the beyond ingredients that you want combined. If you find it, you can think of the additional payment needed to make up for the difference. I can guarantee that I'll be able to help you gather those ingredients, even if it's just one of them. You don't need to expend any resources out of time. Kin, you have no idea. I was freaking out earlier, man. I was, oh my god, about sequence 0. Sheesh, and I went on like a 10-minute rant about like theories and stuff. The word debit is subtle. Oh, where's the music, bro? Sorry. I can guarantee. Sorry. Mr. Hanged Man should have closer relationship with the Church of Storms. He should be able to get Minipus formula normally, right? Is he trying to hide the fact that he's digesting the Seafarer potion quickly? Mine was startled. Maybe, yeah. Alright, the world answered in a low voice and then said, I have another request. Ooh. Interesting. 267. Let's go. Okay, so I do wonder if Audrey is gonna be advancing quickly to like sequence, I don't know, 6, 5, or 4. Can she tell that the world is actually Klein? Because her spectator like abilities rise a lot more, right? The world looked around and said, I want to get information about all... Music is too loud, sorry. The world looked around and said, I want to get information about all the object nobles in the Lower Kingdom, including their current addresses. The more details, the better. Didn't directly mention Baronet Pound, since Detective Sherlock Moriarty was currently handling an investigation regarding an underground structure that involves the Pound family. Plan didn't want justice to figure out the world's identity through this connection. I can't ignore any details, he emphasized to himself. Audrey stared blankly upon hearing that. She once again examined the member at the end of the long bronze table and probed. What do you want to do? The world laughed at the hoarse voice. That's not something you need to worry about. I'm only searching for some things. I won't do them any harm. I can swear on this point and allow Mr. Fool to bear witness. Mr. Fool is really good at controlling his body language. I wonder why. Yeah, Tiger, I meant like using better abilities on the world, right? To figure out that's Klein. Or sorry, the Fool. It's not something you need to worry about. Yeah. The world is really good at controlling his body language. Is he sequenced the nemesis of a spectator or telepathist? Audrey thoughtfully nodded and said, I know some information about abject aristocrats, but it's not sufficiently detailed, complete, or comprehensive. I need some time to gather all of it. I'll take 3 days or 4 days. Is that okay? As a noble, it was compulsory to have some knowledge about people in the same class. Audrey would always hear interesting stories when she attended various balls, banquets, and saloons, but would all be fragmented and could hardly be considered a comprehensive body of knowledge. After all, she wasn't an expert in this field, as she still needed to fill in the details by flipping through books, asking around, and checking references to not miss any abject nobles. No problem, the world laughed deeply. Then what payment would you like in return? The things I can pay you with right now are some secret history from the 4th epoch knowledge or some beyonder pathways, a few formulas, but frankly I don't think that information concerning abject nobles is worth sequence 7 or 8 potions. If you have any other requests, I can attempt to complete them. It's not equal value to sequence 8 or 7 potion formulas, which means I'm unable to make a corresponding request for the psychiatrist formula. Audrey began to ponder seriously. During this process, she sneaked a glance at Mr. Fool, hoping for a hint. When I discovered that Mr. Fool was shrouded in the grey fog and had no reaction whatsoever, he was like a god staring at the land beneath him. Jeez, aura, out of aura. Mr. World is Klein Moretti. Yeah, no shit, bro. I want to hear about knowledge regarding other beyonder pathways, but this is on the premise that I'm not aware of them. Here, Mr. Fool, can you be charged for this? Yes, Klein answered calmly. And then let's have a private conversation. Audrey looked at the world. At that moment, Klein wrapped the table, isolating the sun and the hanged man, mirroring or seeing the exchange. He deliberately nodded to his smurf, indicating that they could begin their private conversation. Nodding to yourself, by the way. Exactly, Bot Bloom. That's what I've been saying. That's one way that this the world Smurf can backfire on Klein. The world looked at Miss Justice and spoke with his usual hoarse voice. Do you know anything about the demoness sect? Audrey recalled the information she paid the hanged man Olga £1,000 for and answered briefly with caution. I know that they believe in and what era they began from, as well as beyond their pathways, the control and the inclination of their upper echelons. The world laughed hoarsely and said, I understand you don't know much. The demon sect controls the assassin pathway, the sequence 8 is indicator. That's what I know, Audrey said, partially to inform the world and partially to show her anticipation. The world raised his hand and stroked his chin before saying, do you know the corresponding sequence 7? Audrey shook her head slightly. I'll be happy to hear it from you. The assassin pathway sequence 7 is called Witch, the world said simply. Witch! Audrey jumped in a fright at this word. She naturally made the corresponding connections with her mind. Then, if a man consumes this potion, how is he supposed to act? Wearing a beautiful dress and putting on exquisite makeup, imitating a lady's every move? He was a little disgusted. Okay, Audrey, yet strangely amused as a thought came to her. What do you mean disgusted? What? No, Miss Justice, when a man consumes this potion, he will no longer be considered male. He will become a true lady. Klein resisted the urge to chortle as he controlled the world's response crazy. Goddess, the witch potion can change person's sex, Audrey blurted out. This is really unbelievable. Mr. Fool didn't deny it, which means it's true. It's simply a miracle. It's the mysterious beyond the world. This world filled with all sorts of inexplainable things. This is the world that I long for. Why am I feeling a little excited after calming down a little? Audrey quickly and guiltily glanced at Mr. Fool and made a tiny confession that she had actually chanted the name of the EVERNIGHT goddess in front of him. The world said in a low, hoarse voice, yes, yes, but it can only make men become women. Women will accordingly have their charms enhanced, whether it's their appearance or skin condition. They'll become significantly improved on the basis of their original looks. This is the reason why the upper echelons on the demoness sect are all women. Then what the flaws does it have? Audrey suddenly left her interests was aroused. The world answered in an unhurried manner. The requirement for their acting is to become evildoers who bring about calamity, disease, and pain. Audrey exhaled slightly and felt a little disappointed. Her mind whirled quickly and she immediately had a new question. If an animal consumes the witch formula without dying or losing control, will the enchantment of its charms be more suited for human taste or focused on charms from the own species? What the fuck is that question, man? For example, a female cat which becomes all male cats and all cats lovers become fanatical towards it. What are you thinking about, Susie? The world was momentarily unsure how to respond. After a few seconds, he said, I never studied such matters. Who would, right? Before Audrey could ask further, he added, the corresponding sequence 6 for the witch pathway's pleasure. 1 second. No? Okay, let's keep reading. Pleasure, or demoness of pleasure. The requirement for acting is to bring pleasure to both men and women. Nice. Mainly in that aspect, as well as controlling or influencing them. The demonesses of the sequence are very good at using special spider salt. Audrey gaped her beautiful mouth. Then she silently closed it again, deeply regretting her beginnings from before. By knowing such information, I will allow you to... by knowing such information, I'll be allowing you to effectively identify demonesses. Are you pleased with this payment? The world asked. Audrey nodded gently and said, it helps me a lot. The deal is completed. I will help you gather information about the abject nobles as soon as possible. Shall I give it to you the next time we meet? The world thought for a moment and asked, can it be faster? Then I'll offer the information I gathered to Mr. Fool and request that he bestow them to you. Mr. Fool, is that okay? Oh my god, actually giving it to Mr. Fool directly, by the way. Why the fuck are they talking about animals, by the way? What the frick? That's crazy, guys. In that thick grey fog line nodded his head in agreement. At the same time, he busily controlled the world to whisper, "He?" They acted a different way she said the word. Noticing the world astonishment, the corners of Audrey's mouth curled up slightly, her eyes burning upwards, and eventually didn't make any explanation. That's funny. Klein wrapped the wrong from the stable, indicating that the end of private exchange, because, you know. So she has more IQ than Audrey? Yeah, right. Then he once again manipulated the world to say, I have one more problem. The newcomer has indeed accumulated lots of requests. Audrey looked over, unsurprised. Olga and Tarek both indicated that they were listening through their body language. The world said hoarsely, I want to know if there are any more high-sequence beyonders in the Soren family in Intis. While the world spoke, Klein looked at the sun through the corners of his eye and saw that the youth didn't have any additional reaction. Yeah, exactly. Remember, this was his plan, to check if Tarek knows about, you know, the Soren family. Stop sexualizing Susie. I will ban you guys. From the looks of it, Sidious doesn't have any records of Soren family. This family most likely made an uprising after the cataclysm. Klein looked around thoughtfully and discovered Justice and the Hanged Man looking at each other. Obviously unaware of the answer, the sun was undoubtedly at a loss and silent. Thus he lightly tapped the table again and said, let me answer this question. What can I... okay. Okay. Thus he lightly tapped, and said, let me answer this question. What can you pay for it? Before he could finish his sentence, Klein hurriedly controlled the world to say, a formula, a sequence 7 formula. Interesting. Okay, deal. Klein created an environment for a private exchange as silently stared at his Smurf for a few seconds. So they didn't have a reaction because, you know, Derek is gold. Audrey and Alger, who were blocked once again, felt how unfathomable Mr. Fool was. They were both curious about the answer, but they also felt that there was no use of them. It wasn't worth to spend sequence 7 potion from in exchange for that. After the private exchange, Klein deliberately made the world bow and say in a hoarse voice, Honorable Mr. Fool, thank you for your answer. It was very helpful to me. This is an equivalent exchange. There's no need to thank me. You're talking to yourself, man. Klein entered the goosebumps and suddenly surfaced on his skin and he answered indifferently. The open communication that followed lasted less than 10 minutes. Then he announced the end of the Dark Lab gathering before surveying the connections with the Crimson Stars. Wait, what? I was confused for a second. Oh. Ah, fuck. Yeah, I misunderstood, by the way. For a second, I misunderstood. I thought the sun said that, no, it was actually the world. Anyway, you know, ambiguity in English and autism, sometimes you mess up the simplest things. But thank God the misunderstanding was fixed. Anyway, Bro just yapped to himself for 10 minutes, by the way, and then bowed to himself. What a interesting guy, man. I mean, he has to make the lie believable. After the figures of Justice, the Hanged Man, and the sun dissipated into streams of light, Klein looked at the world and chuckled. With a Smurf, a lot of things are really much more convenient. Yeah, also dangerous, guys. Unfortunately, the all-black eye cannot be used outside the grey fog. What a pity. Exactly, as he thought that he controlled the world to stand up and bow. Then he let it melt into the majestic palace. As he had to divert some of his attention in order to control his Smurf, Klein had expended a great deal of his spirituality. He didn't continue staying in that space. After retrieving the all-black eye and placing it behind the bronze table, he immediately returned to the real world. At that moment, there was a rare case of backland sunshine. Oh, in autumn or winter behind the tightly shut curtains. Klein didn't have the time to take in this view. He slept for half an hour to recover some of his energy. After waking up due to having gained Miss Justice's promise and the fact that it wasn't urgent, he had no plans for searching for information at the library. Instead, he had to head one of the many cemetery sites on the outskirts of Backland before nightfall. Klein was going to test the influence of Isaac's copper whistle to understand its scope and limitations. Of course, the experience would only be carried out after dark. The reason why he was heading out now was that it would be very strange and very eye-catching to hire a carriage to visit the cemetery in the evening. I know, Gilby, right? Anyway, wow, I think this is like the second best stream I ever had. As in, like, the reveals, and we talked a lot about things and had so much fucking fun. This Tarot Club was the peak of the peak. Also, a lot of like interesting notes from Roselle as well. And we read 10 chapters today, which is a lot of chapters, right? You guys think so? So we are wrapping up the stream. I'll be back to stream on Thursday, I think. Thursday or Friday. We're gonna do another, like, 8 or to 10 chapters, right? So I'll see you then. Thanks for coming. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.